If they work on your Subaru, you're going to get a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on both parts and labor. That's unheard of. A&A The Shop deals exclusively with Subarus, and they also offer $35 oil changes. All their technicians are ASE certified. Call A&A The Shop for an appointment. 562-3919 in Anchorage and 696-2096 in Eagle River.
Glen Biegel, you have beautiful teeth.
Why, thank you, Dan Fagan. That's because my family and I have gone to Dr. Dan Kiley for years.
I get scared at the dentist.
Dr. Kiley knows people like you are afraid, so he creates a relaxed atmosphere at his office. People actually like going to the dentist with Dr. Kiley.
I know it's important to have good dental health.
And you look better with good teeth. And Dr. Kiley offers cosmetic dentistry along with general care.
Visit Dr. Dan Kiley at lakeotisdental.com. Call him at 562-9209.
Are you ready? Dan Fagan and Glen Biegel are here. They're gonna tear it up, rip it down, and shoot it straight. Fagan and Biegel in the morning on Hot Talk, KOAN. And now, Fagan and Biegel.
Tearing it down, ripping it up.
Oh, yeah.
And shooting it straight right here.
There you go.
Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie on a Wednesday morning. Roads. Will we go to war with our number one taxpayer? Will we play the victim? And it's us against them. Well, we're going to decide November 4th, aren't we? With Bill Walker and Byron Milano on the ticket. Glen Biegel sitting right over there. Bonnie Cameron is over there. My name is Dan Fagan. And it is Wednesday the what? 3rd?
Yeah. September 3rd.
Welcome, both of you. How you guys doing?
That's mine.
That's yours? Okay. Too loud? There we go. Yeah, there we go. That helps. Thank you. Just in our volumes, getting everything going. So, lots we're going to get to today. I have a mea culpa, which I regularly have on pretty much a daily basis. Well, you know, I don't have a wife to apologize to every day. So I have
me.
Well, no. So or the listeners, our viewers too now. And I guess that's how I get I think a man has to apologize on a regular basis, or his heart gets hard and stone-like, and he can't see the errors of his ways. Because men we're pretty Neanderthal-type creatures. We're not real bright. Most
not as gentle.
We're not as gentle.
Yeah.
It was like
a little crass, a
Elizabeth
little hard.
Elizabeth used to say that I was like a bull in a china shop with my words. I just walk into a china shop and just start breaking things with my words.
Yeah.
That's good. I just throw them around. I spray them around like an Uzi. Oh, I hope nobody gets hurt here. Well, you're spraying an Uzi. What do you think? And I went off on the oh, bless their hearts, the anti-oil.
That's when you know it's coming.
Well, I was thinking about it. And it's funny because here's the thing. I just love having the deep thinking Glen Biegel by my side every day because he's just so brilliant. And I know if I'm off, he's gonna
guide you.
He's gonna what?
I'm gonna guide you.
You're gonna guide me through my office. Here's a thought for you. Now, just for those who didn't know, yesterday I went on somewhat of a tear saying that it's our oil crowd. Not that we want Alaska National Park and we want to kick the oil industry out because we're Greenies crowd. They know what they're doing. Not the Bill Walker, we want the government to take over the oil industry, the Norway model, so we can have more union employees crowd. I'm not talking about those guys. I'm talking about the useful idiots, the useful deceived people in the middle who it's our oil. You debate them, and all that really comes out of their mouth is it's our oil. So here's my thought. And it goes back to a couple that are recorded in history, and they go by the name of Adam and Eve. Are you familiar with them?
I've heard of them.
They're old people. They're like these are some way back. You talk about pioneers.
Back before clothes.
This is back before that's right. Back before you go to Sears and buy an outfit when you're going somewhere. And you look at the tree of life that Adam and Eve were not supposed to eat from. It's the one command. Just don't eat the freaking apple, man. You know, you got the Garden of Eden. It's Hawaii, right? All you gotta do is just don't touch the apple. Everything else is going for you. But, you know, there was the woman there.
Mm-hmm.
It's all our fault.
Well, it is. And so bottom line is, but it really starts with the snake in the garden representing Satan. What does he say? He says, you know, what did God say? He's messing with you guys, man.
Yep.
Why are you going to let him lie to you like that?
You'll be like God yourself.
You'll be like God. Take that. Don't let them. And it reminded me that purveyors of the victim card, that's where evil lives. When you present to someone else the scenario that they are a victim, you are a purveyor of evil. You may not know it, you may not realize it, but when you present to people it's us against them, they're taking advantage of you, they're out to get you, you can't believe them. You are literally bringing about destruction in someone's life. And that's where it's our oil hustlers, different than the people who've been fooled by the message. The it's our oil hustlers, I think, are causing such great harm to our state. Sarah Palin, Bill Walker, pretty much the Democratic Party, the oil company, they're evil. You can't trust them. They're taking advantage of us. It's our oil. We're Alaskans. That message, just like when Barack Obama and Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson and pretty much everyone on CNN says to the minority community in the United States, hey, man, you're oppressed. You can't make it in this country. You can't do anything of any substance and create value for yourself. You're not in the in crowd. They're in control. It's the wealthy people. It's the rich white people. That message so infuriates me. And I got, you know, when I went off yesterday on the It's Our Oil crowd, they are the classic fish on the hook, and the hook being it's I'm a victim. The I am a victim mentality predominates thought today in America, and they teach it in public schools. It's in Hollywood. The political landscape's filled with it. And that's really where we are in this state. If the purveyors of victimization can convince enough Alaskans that the oil industry is out to get us, to take advantage of us, rape and pillage our land, and we can turn on them, us against them, Sarah Palin being the architect of this version, then they can bring the state down, Glenn.
I totally agree that this is the divide between left and right. And the message from people on the right has always been, we're a great country. Land filled with opportunity, land filled with wealth. All we have to do is wisely, solidly, with wisdom, go out and get it. Put in a hard day's work. You'll rise. You will make it. And that is the message from the right. And a lot of people do not like that message, because the idea that everyone is supposed to go out and go get theirs and participate in this place, this great land of opportunity, that's just not what they want to hear. They like, and I think that this plays to the two sides of the human person. The one that's filled with hope, knows that there's opportunity, that we're kings in and of ourselves, that we can go out and achieve and create. And the other side, that's like a little child and is frightened and afraid of the dark and doesn't want to go out, doesn't want to venture outside of the house. It's so fascinating to watch, because this is what plays across our hearts. And both sides know that these heartstrings are there, and they try and play them as well as they can. And you're right, this is largely a battle between good and evil. It is truly evil to make a victim of someone else.
614, Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie.
To make a victim of someone else.
614, Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel. You're on with Fagan and Biegel.
jams and broken printers, or individual departments purchasing expensive printer cartridges that get buried in office supply budgets? Is your printer support strategy really a printer replacement plan? Let Alaska Enterprise Solutions show you how to reduce those high print costs. AES is a Xerox professional agency in Alaska with Xerox's worldwide support behind them. You can reach us at aesalaska.com or 561-5100.
When Alaska hunters get their moose or caribou, deer or sheep, they face a number of choices. The smart ones bring their meat to Herb Ekman at Alaska Sausage.
We have been processing game for Alaskans since 1963. I am very proud of the products we make.
Alaska Sausage makes wonderful breakfast sausage, foliage sausage, summer sausage, and the old favorites, moose-a-roni and wieners, plus their famous hunter sticks, pepper sticks, or teriyaki sticks.
And each month we have some great specials like our classic pastrami. Our specials are always very popular. And a superior product starts with superior meat. That's why Alaska Sausage only accepts good, clean game meat that has been well cared for before it gets to us.
You know, there's a lot of hard work involved in bringing back your moose or caribou or sheep, a lot of hard work. So it only makes sense to take it where you'll get the best sausage and meat. Alaska Sausage, near the corner of Arctic and Benson. And our Valley customers can drop their clean boneless meat at Smoked Alaska Seafoods, where Alaska Sausage will pick it up and complete your order.
Just tell them Herb sent you.
I had crunchy Belvita breakfast biscuits this morning. Then what did I do? Did a sit-up, did my makeup late to train, so I stood up, made a guy think I was into sports. Had a meeting where we met, then a meeting after that, took a break, and then we had another meeting.
That didn't rhyme.
Yeah, sorry, those meetings left my brain a bit blurg.
Crunchy Belvita breakfast biscuits are made with delicious ingredients and carefully baked to release steady energy all morning long. Belvita.
Morning win.
Hot Top KOAN, man. You're on with Fagan and Biegel. 10 a.m. and Biegel. Weekday mornings from 6 to 9 a.m. on the Talk of the Valley, KVNT.
6:17 in the a.m. Wednesday morning, September 3rd. Glad you're here on the Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie show. I would ask a favor of you, if you're listening. If you have any friends, or if you don't have any friends, first, I guess my first request would be go out and get some friends. And then with those new friends, if you would let them know about this broadcast, we would appreciate it. We're new. We've only been on the air since, July 1st, June 30th, I guess. Been on the air, 2 months now?
Let's see, July, August, and we're into September, yep.
Yeah, so 2 months and 3 days.
Yeah.
But 9 weeks?
Right.
Obviously, the show has exploded in growth. We know that because of the feedback we've gotten, because of the streaming numbers. But I know that there are a lot of people out there who don't know that we're here yet. And those of you who have found us and have decided to make us a habit, first of all, thank you. But also, we would appreciate you telling your neighbors and your friends and letting them know that we're here. And, we're on 4 signals. KOAN, we're on 95.1 FM, which is an incredibly strong signal covering all of Anchorage. And then we're also 1080 AM, which covers Anchorage and out the Eagle River and out to the valley. And then in the valley, we're on 92.1 FM, which covers all the valley, and then 1020 AM. And actually, 92.1 FM also covers the valley and Anchorage, because you can get both. We're actually on 2 stations on FM in Anchorage, which is unheard of. So we've got plenty of reach, but we'd like to get the word out more. So if you could help us with that, we'd appreciate that. 569-1080, 569-1080. Steve, you're on.
Well, good morning.
Morning.
How are you all doing?
We're all good.
Good to hear your voice.
All right, I was fumbling with something else here. After your little talk this morning, I was wondering if I'm evil for wanting to make Begich a victim. So
he's not going to be a victim. The guy's a millionaire. Come on.
Well.
Just relax. He'll be okay.
Okay.
He'll find gainful employment or liberal activism or whatever.
There's nobody sleazier in politics, I tell you. But anyway, I had a question for you guys. what's the best strategy here? Sullivan's the guy that we got to, back to beat this evil.
Yeah.
I went out and got my signs. I put them up around my neighborhood. I went to the Sullivan website and donated. Then I got an email from the Republican Party saying that this is a neck-and-neck race and they want me to contribute to the Republican Party. And I'm not sure that's the best way to go, or is it? Or should I just keep going to the Sullivan site?
I'd go straight to Sullivan. You don't know for sure that the RNC will use the money here. They have. I'm sure it's the senatorial campaign, and what they'll do is they'll allocate. And I've given to the National Republican Party before, and I get 6 emails a day from them.
Exactly. Same here.
Yeah. And so, but I don't ever give to them. I think the reason I got on their list is when Obamacare was in play, and Scott Brown in Massachusetts was running for office, and he might have been the one vote that could have given him enough to kill Obamacare. I think I gave him $500. Scott Brown is running for Senate. He ended up winning, but Obamacare still passed, so that was a waste of money. But no, I would keep it straight here under Sullivan's campaign, because they keep the money here local, and it's guaranteed to help Sullivan.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That's what I want to encourage people to do.
Yes.
I got a phone call a while back from the Republican National Committee or whatever. They asked me for a donation, and I said, well, the main thing is we need to beat baggage, and they didn't know who I was talking about.
Yeah. So, that's awful.
So that really turned me off.
No, Steve, that's a great point, and that's not talked about enough on talk radio, and we have such differing agendas on the table now. Where Mark Begich wants to take us compared to where Dan Sullivan takes us, they're different stratospheres. And for those of us who are engaged and maybe have a little bit extra money, it's time we get involved in the process financially. And I know a lot of people can't give, they just don't have the means. But if you are someone who has any kind of, if it's $50, the days of sitting back and watching politics as a spectator and not getting involved, we're losing our country. We're losing our way here as a nation because of this radical leftist agenda that has taken over the Democratic Party. And we don't talk about that enough,
I agree. But the guys, people can just go down to the Republican office and pick up all kinds of signs for free.
Yeah, that's true. There's lots you can do for free. You can go volunteer to man the phones, to wave signs, to drop literature off. Brian's waving his Sullivan sign in the control room. But I'm talking specifically to people who have the means to give a little money. It's your country. It's your children's future.
Well, it really is important for the state too. This is ridiculous. We got to get this guy out.
Yeah. Well, Steve, what do you think? How damaging? And I was listening a little bit to Eddie Burke yesterday, and he had Ivan Moore on, who's a hardcore left guy. But even Ivan Moore was disgusted with this latest baggage ad, trying to use this poor family for political gain that were victims of this crime.
You can't be more sleazy than that.
Oh,
that is terrible. And then this attack on women thing, and the guy is obviously desperate, but he has no scruples. It seems he'll say anything.
It's despicable, is what it is.
It really is. It's sad to see.
I think it's the worst ad that Alaska's seen. In my lifetime, that's the worst ad I've ever seen.
And the fact that he wouldn't even pull it after he knew the family was outraged.
He's going to pay for that, by the way. I hope people realize that, look, the justice will be done in this, and Mark Begich will pay politically a huge price for what he's done to this family, for making these horrible, ridiculous, outrageous, and despicable accusations against Dan Sullivan. He will pay because this is far-left extremism and just the worst side of politics. And I know what he wants to happen here is he wants people to unplug. He wants people to believe politics is so dirty, I, as a decent human being, can have nothing to do with it. I would never touch politics. I don't believe in politics. I'm outside of politics. I'm bigger than politics. That is exactly what he wants to do. What people have to do is look at that ad and say, Mark Begich must be removed from office. He must not hold power in our country. There is no way that a person can be given $3.8 trillion and given this ad, which is a true reflection of his heart. His heart is, if you're not on my side, I can accuse you of anything. I can make stuff up. I can say it on air. I can make your family. Can you imagine how Dan Sullivan's family thinks about this ad? Think about that. Mark Begich is saying to hundreds of thousands of people, absolute, outright, unmitigated, and horrible lies about a man who is decent. That should not stand.
Thank you, Steve. You know, I agree. It should be the end of the campaign. It should be the end of the campaign. But here's the problem. I watched Channel 11 story. I watched Channel 2 story, and then the Daily News. And the headlines in the Daily News story: Begich Sullivan campaigns drop controversial ads referencing Mountain View case.
Oh, this is the Nat Hertz piece we were talking about.
And what Nat basically did is he took this act that was, well, here's what I wrote on my Facebook page. Nat, this is a Begich-generated scandal and a Begich-generated lie, and the use of a horrific tragedy for political gain by Begich and Begich alone. Your column, your article, puts Sullivan on equal footing as Begich on this heartless act of desperation. And as you read Nat's piece and you watch Channel 11 and you watch Channel 2, he makes it a two-person scandal.
This is sanitized, and it's false. Nat's piece is false in that sense.
I want you to think about if this was something that Sullivan tried to do.
Yeah.
It would have been
the end of his campaign.
Well, it would have been.
Yeah, sure.
Because it would have been the story.
Legitimately.
Sullivan falsely uses a family's tragedy for political gain. That would have been the headline.
Yeah. Or family hurt by rapist, also hurt by candidate.
Yeah.
Then secondly,
no. Family hurt by rapist, a victim twice.
Yes.
Calls for Sullivan
That's what they
to
would
stop using them for political gain.
Yep,
Well, and that was the whole
exactly
point of this ad by Begich's campaign, was that Sullivan has poor decision-making skills.
Yeah.
You know, and here it shows their lack of decision-making skills.
Many of you may not know, but I'm not president of the Little Billy McAllister fan club. I'm not. I'm a member, but I'm not president.
Okay.
And I'm listening to Eddie Burke yesterday, and Little Billy's on there. And he made an incredible point, Little Billy did. Because he described what it was exactly. Because Little Billy used to work for Dan Sullivan.
Oh,
he was
really?
a PR guy, yeah. And he said, what literally...
So he knows him pretty well, then.
Well, I suppose he worked for him.
Mm-hmm.
But what Little Billy basically said is that what Begich is accusing Dan Sullivan of doing is being pro-rape and pro-murder.
Sure, absolutely.
I mean, that's the accusation.
Yeah.
How sleazy. Only a leftist with the leftist media on his side could get away, and there's no truth in it.
Mm-mm.
That's the thing. And they keep going back to the Willie Horton ad, where it was 100% true.
Right.
With Michael Dukakis letting parole people out, but everybody objected to this picture because everybody said it was racist. But there was no falsehood in that ad. This is 100% false. And the fact that Begich is still standing shows what an uphill battle we have with the leftist media.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's trying to get women by this too. So,
sure.
You know, to me, I would hope that women would see through it and just say, "Come on,
They
we're
shouldn't
not
see through
we're
it. They
not
should
stupid."
see it for what it is. This is the horror. See, Mark Begich doesn't consider Dan Sullivan a human. He's a Republican. And Republicans, you can do anything to.
Mm-hmm.
You can say anything about. As long as the political outcome is what you want, you don't have to worry about the niceties of being gentle and kind and caring or even decent. And that's what they shouldn't see through it. They should see it for what it is, and that Mark Begich is a hard leftist.
629.
See it for what it is, and that Mark Begich is a hard leftist.
629.
Fagan and Biegel on Hot Talk. Fagan and Biegel.
identified the victims of a deadly crash in the Parks Highway on Labor Day. They say 33-year-old Dontavian Green and 23-year-old Patricia Williams, both of Fairbanks, died at the scene of the head-on crash, which occurred about 5 miles from the Alaska Veterans Memorial. 2 Anchorage residents in the other car were seriously injured. A woman accused of playing a role in a brutal sexual assault has been located and Tender reports.
22-year-old Mariah Kalanina was arrested after someone tipped off her location to Anchorage Crime Stoppers. She was wanted for taking part in an assault on a man who was brutalized in a sexual way at the Arctic Turn Inn in August. Police had been searching for Kalanina for a few weeks when the anonymous caller helped them out. They called the assault drug-related.
Friendly coordinators say the Wasilla Farmers Market is set for today at Wonderland Park. That's your Hot Talk News update.
Mostly sunny for today, high 60. Clear for the rest of your Wednesday, low 42. Cloudy on Thursday, high tomorrow 58. Tomorrow night, low 48. Cloudy with occasional rain for Friday, high 59. Saturday, mostly cloudy with a bit of rain, high 58. And for Sunday, high again, 58. Hot Talk, breaking news, and the latest weather. KOAN 95.1 FM and 1080 AM.
When you've got the best ingredients, the pizza comes out right. That's just what we're cooking for every appetite. Experience the flavor, call us right away. 24/7, it's a pizza party day.
For the past 20 years, Sicily's Pizza has served Alaskans hot, fresh, quality pizza at a great price. And as a special thanks to all of their loyal customers, Sicily's is having a 20th anniversary sale. Any pizza, any size, for just 20 cents. Now that's an offer that you really can sink your teeth into. Call 333-8000 and order the Sicily's 20th anniversary special. Buy any pizza, any size, and get a second pizza for only 20 cents. Order online at sicilyspizza.com. Offer valid for pickup and carry out only. Best ingredients, best pizza, Sicily's.
Just call Sicily's Pizza, 333-8000.
If you're ready for the movies, there's just one place to go. Check out moviesak.com.
Find movie showtimes for Anchorage and the Valley at moviesak.com. Check out trailers and reviews updated daily. Moviesak.com, your local location on the web to find out everything you need to know before you go out. Register for free movie tickets that are given away every week and the grand prize of movie tickets for life.
Here we go again. More false, misleading attack ads from outsiders. The culprit? Mark Begich. Senator Begich is siding with his D.C. friends once again, supporting more negative ads from anti-Alaska outsiders, telling us what to do. Dan Sullivan stood up for us, telling the Washington special interest to stay out of Alaska. Sullivan proposed a plan to stop the mudslinging so this election could stay focused on the issues. But the Anchorage Daily News reports Begich refused to sign Sullivan's proposal. Mark Begich votes with Barack Obama 97% of the time. Now Begich is hoping that anti-gun liberals and anti-energy extremists from the lower 48 will buy this election instead of letting Alaskans decide. As our senator, Dan Sullivan will stand up for Alaska and fight back against Barack Obama and his D.C. allies.
I'm Dan Sullivan. I'm running for the U.S. Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Sullivan for U.S. Senate.
Did you know that one of the state's premier medical facilities is located right in the heart of South Anchorage? Thanks to the Alaska Neurology Center, there's no need to leave Alaska anymore when it comes to treating the nervous system. You'll receive the best care at the Alaska Neurology Center for epilepsy, cerebral palsy, brain injuries, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, Huntington's disease, multiple sclerosis, speech disorders, and they offer pain management as well. If you're having trouble sleeping at night, the Alaska Neurology Center has the best sleep disorder experts in the state. They also have the most sophisticated MRI imaging technology in Alaska. If you need relief from stress or from migraines, relax in their luxurious spa. At the Alaska Neurology Center, their massage therapists are amazing, and they offer hydrotherapy, infrared sauna, hot and cold therapy, and shiatsu massage. And their medical spa also offers facials and waxing. The Alaska Neurology Center, located on Diamond and Old Seward.
What if buying your next car could actually be enjoyable? At Payless Car Sales, we believe it should be. If you're in the market for your next car, come by and meet our knowledgeable staff and explore our selection of quality vehicles. We offer military discounts, and we give all of our customers Carfax history reports. We can also provide warranties and handle all of your lending needs. Just like driving your car should be enjoyable, so should buying it. Visit us downtown at 919 East 5th Avenue or on our website at paylesssales.com. Payless Car Sales, where Alaskans drive.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel on Hot Talk FM. Fagan, Biegel. Weekdays 6 to 9 a.m. The Talk of the Valley. KVNT.
6:35 in the morning. Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie. Beautiful morning. A little bit of rain. It wasn't raining this morning, was it? It was
A little bit.
There was dew.
Dew?
Yeah.
It was raining last night.
It almost froze 2 or 3 days ago. Ooh, in the morning. Almost. Yeah.
It's blizzarding up on the slope.
Oh, is the termination dust there?
Oh, more than that. It's blizzard.
there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When did that
19
happen?
years, by the way, now for our world with no additional global warming. The line is absolutely flat for the last 19 years.
Are you a denier?
No, I'm not a denier. We've definitely been warming over the last 500 years.
But we have to raise taxes and get control.
We have to. We have to because it's our oil. I mean, I don't understand. Why can't people get that? It just drives me nuts. Do you
We're
not
going
get that?
between like 3 subjects here.
Well, you have to be simple in things. You have to make sure that it all fits on a bumper sticker. Well, that's what we should do. We should make up our own bumper stickers. It's our oil, so save the baby whales.
Alaskans for global warming.
And stop global
And
warming.
oil. And
That's
get a
it.
shovel.
It's our oil, so save the baby whales and stop global warming. Amen.
Use the
That's-
oil to make more ice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love ice.
I saw a car yesterday that had a Mark Begich sticker, bumper sticker, and a Lisa Murkowski bumper sticker. That should tell you something.
Oh yeah.
Bipartisan car.
And Obama.
It could be from the wife is one way, the husband's the other. Maybe the wife's the conservative. Maybe
It was
the
a
husband-
minivan, so
All right.
it's probably all hers.
I've driven a minivan in my life. What are you saying about? You saying something about me?
It'll
Bring
be
it on.
It'll be interesting to see how the Sullivan-Murkowski team will govern together because he's clearly far to the right of her, and it'll be interesting because her and Begich aren't that far off, really.
Yeah. Well, what I wonder is this. Begich has missed a number of votes, but Murkowski and Young have missed more votes. You know how that big controversy has stirred up. But here's the one thing that most people probably don't know. It doesn't matter when the minority doesn't vote. They don't have a vote.
Right.
There's no purpose for them to be there.
Well,
they
that-
can't do a single thing unless every Democrat decides that they're going to allow them to do that because that's how the Senate's run. They don't allow a single amendment to come to the floor. They have not allowed an amendment to come to the floor in the last 3 or 4 or 5
Harry
years.
Reid.
It is the most ridiculous, partisan, one-sided discussion you've ever seen. So the only person that has mattered over the last while is Mark Begich. And I want people to realize that. What will be interesting, though, and this is what I have been asking, if there were Republican leadership, right? If it wasn't this partisan Democrat organization that doesn't allow any amendments of any kind, if it was a Republican-led, how Lisa would have an opportunity to vote a different way than she does. I think you would see a far different contrast between Lisa Murkowski's governance. Not enough for me. I really do want more conservative people, but I think that it would be far different. That's just my guess, and I'm hoping that we find out.
Lisa Murkowski should worry that Dan Sullivan is going to contrast so much that it's really going to hurt her in 2016.
Unless she really begins to tack to the right, knowing that she's vulnerable.
She'll become pro-life again and pro-marriage, traditional marriage.
Well, we'll see. Look, our state is in flux. Our nation is in flux, and you may think, Dan, that there's only 2 or 3% of people out there who are libertarians. I hate to tell you, about 80% of people coming out of high school are libertarians.
That high, really?
Oh yeah. No, nobody claims a party because, right? All things. The churches are all sullied. Our government is all sullied. So what they come out is they're totally cynical about everything.
Mm-hmm.
And the only party that has never governed for a single minute anywhere that you can find is libertarians. Therefore, they've never had to say, this is how we want a society to work. It's all theory.
Yeah, but they're so
And
entitlement-minded.
The kids
How could they be
love
libertarian?
theory.
No.
Oh.
People coming out of school are so
No.
entitlement-minded.
Here's the thing about kids. They have no idea about how many entitlements they get, and they have never added up. They've never lined all the things up and said, "Oh, I'm getting a free. Oh, somebody else is paying for this." They're not thinking along those lines.
The government's involved.
They're not thinking along that. That's all background stuff, and that's one of the brilliant things that people on the left have done. Is there's so many entitlements going on all at the same time, you don't even realize that they're like background noise. And, for background noise, you just don't even know it's
just
there.
a given.
Yeah.
They think it's
The
normal.
most brilliant thing the left has ever done to advance its anti-freedom agenda is withholding taxes out of your paycheck. If you're a 20-year-old kid and you work at Wendy's and your check every 2 weeks is $450, but it's really, you don't even buy somebody a duck somewhere.
Yeah.
You don't. I only make $450 every 2 weeks. That's what I make. No, you make $650, and government's taking $200 every 2 weeks and wasting about $180 of it.
Yeah.
And that's not just for young people. It's really for most adults. If we had to write a check every month to the state, local, and federal government for the taxes that we paid, government would be a fifth the size it is today.
And we're ticking up to $18 trillion.
Yeah. The government would be so minuscule. When they started taking that money out of our checks, that's when they started getting away with murder.
I've started suggesting that our students in university be given a fake check, but a check for how much our oil industry, how much our government is at college. Because I think it would be so, first of all, just out of their mouths.
What is a subsidy again?
It's somewhere around $45,000 a year.
A year. So every UAA
for every full-time student,
the oil company pays for $45,000 of their.
Somewhere around there. It's like a full-time salary.
It's our oil, Glenn.
Dan, if you just understood that, we would get a lot further in our conversation. I'm waiting.
Well, wouldn't that be interesting to go on campus? Because there are a lot of young people in the anti-oil. It's our oil crowd.
Yeah.
And we're a victim. They're taking advantage of it.
They don't like profits. They don't like corporations. Right. They don't understand international businesses. Right. They think that they have no idea how much the oil companies have done for the state of Alaska because they weren't here.
What is tuition at UAA now?
I think it's around $5,000, $6,000 for a full time.
So the oil companies pay $45,000 and the student pays $5,000?
Well, you got to put in books if they go to dorm. So it gets complicated, but let's say that you were living at home and you're just going to the university, then your subsidy would be somewhere around $42,000.
And you're paying how much?
Wow.
And you pay around $5,000. Isn't that great?
That would be great. I've never heard that. You really do. You should.
Wouldn't that be fun to see what happened to their face that, and go up just to people who are sitting there protesting the oil industry
and Bill Walker,
say, here's your $45,000 check in order to go to school here.
But see, they think we'll get more, though, if we tax them more.
And Bill Walker wants to go to war with these people.
Well, I hope not. Look, Dan, I'm looking forward to finding out where he is at.
Hold on a minute.
He wanted yes
How
on
many
one.
times have you interviewed Bill Walker?
I have interviewed him probably 5 times.
5 times? That's it?
Yeah.
I've interviewed him 50.
Okay. But you always go the same place, which is you have a gas line.
No.
The oil industry refuses to put gas in it.
No.
And so what do you do?
No.
Which at that point, we have to follow the law.
I've interviewed him on ACES.
Okay.
He doesn't think taxes deter investment. He thinks they have to invest here. They're in harvest mode.
Then he's not a conservative.
No, he's not a conservative. Nat Hertz called him a conservative today, and Mike Dingman did call him a conservative.
What I'm interested
he's not a conservative.
Oh, okay, we gotta go. But I got a great question.
644. Conservative.
What I'm interested
he's not a conservative.
Oh, okay, we gotta go. But I got a great question.
644.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel.
KOAN. Blue ribbons, old blue eyes, red, white, and blue. A lot of really great things have blue in them. And interestingly enough, one thing that's blue has a lot of really great things in it. The famous Valpak Blue Envelope. You know the envelope I'm talking about. Blue, stuffed with savings, delivered right to your mailbox. Yeah, you've seen it.
Check out Valpak Values, Allstate Insurance, Northern Lights Coupon Book, Massage Envy, Scouting Cruise and Holiday Auction, Alaska Car Transport, and Dental Specials.
Who was the last Alaska governor to see 16,000 new jobs created on his watch? Was it Wally Hickel? Jay Hammond? Bill Egan? The last governor to see 16,000 new jobs is our current governor, Sean Parnell. Alaska is in the middle of a jobs boom. Since Sean Parnell took office, the Alaska economy has produced some 16,000 new jobs. And you can bet there are more jobs coming. Listen to Jim Huffman, president of a trucking company in Fairbanks.
This year we are buying new trucks, hiring new people. I could put 20 truck drivers to work tomorrow if we could find them. I give the credit to Governor Parnell.
Alaska's economy is back on track. 16,000 new Alaska jobs since Sean Parnell became our governor. That's why Parnell 2014, Box 100719, Anchorage, paid for this message.
Employers, you know valuable employees help grow your business. You want qualified, educated, friendly, and hardworking employees. Well, we have the perfect solution. Plan to be at the annual Jobs Fair, sponsored by Alaska Dispatch News and Alaska Integrated Media. It's at the Egan Center on September 10th from 10:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. There are still spots available for booths, so if you're a local business interested in participating, send an email to jobfair@adn.com. Come join us and find the next star of your team.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning. Give him a call, 569-1080. With Fagan and Biegel in the morning on the Talk of the Valley, KVNT.
6:47 in the morning, Wednesday morning, 3rd day of September. Winter right around the corner. You want to get into a reliable vehicle, car, truck, SUV. Life's easier when you have reliable transportation, when you have a sweet ride, as the kids say. And our good friend Ali Sheik over at Payless Car Sales can hook you up. He's committed to real customer service. He's the second fastest growing car dealer in the whole state of Alaska. He's now the second largest car dealer in Anchorage. And the reason that Ali and his team over at Payless Car Sales are so successful is they have a great eye for value. You know, we don't talk a lot about value in our culture today, do we? Value is important. When you go and plop down money for a vehicle, you want to know you're getting the most for your dollar. And Ali Sheik, man, he knows how to get you into a car to make your dollar go the furthest. He's an entry-level luxury used car dealer, offers superior customer service, great vehicles, friendly atmosphere. Ali Sheik, Payless Car Sales. He's over on 5th Avenue, 919 East 5th Avenue. Go check him out. Our number here in the Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie Show, 569-1080. You had a thought on Bill Walker?
Yeah, I think he says he's going to cut some things out of the budget. And what I'd like to do, because this is an AFL-CIO organized endeavor, they are essentially funding this. I would like to know from them, from the AFL-CIO, what would you like to see cut?
And the public employee unions are at the forefront of big government growth. They are the frontline soldiers advancing government expansion. So if you're pro-union, you're big government, period. Do not tell me as a politician you're small government, and yet the union bosses, you're their lapdog.
I think the people, by the way, are at least as to blame for our large government. Our people are the ones getting the checks. Now, they help elect politicians. They help move the entire system to the left. Look, our people in this country have been playing along with this. We got 30 schools here in the Anchorage School District. 30 schools that they're going to give free breakfast and lunch and maybe even dinner to every single person in the school, even if their parents make $1 million freaking dollars. And what are we doing? We just go along and reelect people who go to the school board.
Well, that's a federal thing, but yeah.
Well, the fact is that it's harmful. It's not a federal thing. It's a harmful thing.
Yeah.
It ruins parents' ability to tell their children, well, Johnny, I'm not rich.
But you have
Here's a bologna sandwich.
No,
this is the best I can do for you. But I'm your parent, and you're going to be okay.
But Glenn, when you look at the workings of the budget and how the logistics of how the budget expands, there's no group that's more intricate than getting the dollars spent than the unions, because the union bosses are in the committee meetings via the politicians they've hired. You know, when you look at Mark Begich, who got gobs and gobs of cash from the unions, he's the mayor of Anchorage. He's sitting at a negotiating table with Larry Bell with the IBEW, basically letting Larry sit on both sides of the negotiating table. Says that anybody who's an electrician who wants to work for the city, if you're going to work for the city, you got to go down and write Larry Bell a check. You get nothing for that check. Now, that's hiring a politician. Now, it's all legal. So that's where the growth stems from. And, you know, all of these 20,000 state workers that are all union members, they're hiring Bill Wielechowski, Liesl McGuire, with an R in front of the name, Bob Lynn with an R in front of his name. These even Republicans, you know, 100% of the Democrats are union shills.
Yeah, they're
many
primary ones. AFL-CIO proves that, by the way, that they run
right.
things in the Democrat Party.
They're totally in charge. But even in the Republicans, there are many Republicans.
Sure.
Who? What do you want, Mr. Beltrami, sir? That was true.
Yeah.
Everybody wants their cut now. It's ridiculous. We can't do this.
569-1080. 569-1080. Let's go to Bob. Bob, you're on.
You know, and then you were talking about that article that was in the paper about the free lunches. You know, here they are. These are young kids. What's the lesson there?
Yes.
You know, the lesson is don't worry about your parents. You know, the government will take care of you.
Yes.
You know,
government is the parent now.
The worst lesson, I think, of this entire debacle is that what I'm giving you, my son or daughter, is not good enough, and the government will make up when I'm unable to do. That's a horrible message. That is destructive of the family, worse than you can ever know, worse than 100 bologna sandwiches a year. That is so destructive of that parent's ability to tell their child. But secondly, the incentive, if you want a different life, my son, I want you to work hard. Go to school, get an education, and make a difference for yourself, and you will never eat a bologna sandwich in your life. Can you imagine?
Yeah. It's just, gosh, that one, when I saw that, it just kills me. But, you know, the other thing that I've noticed around town, there's all these signs that say Republicans for Begich.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, there's a bunch of pro-abortion Republicans who do not believe in limited government at all, and they're all for Begich. People can sign up for whatever party they want. There's no restriction. There's no ability for the Republican Party, as you can see with Gary Stevens and Bert Stedman. They're really Democrats. You could sign up at BNR. There's nothing magical about this. This is part of the theater of politics. So don't get excited about it. It's not real. It doesn't exist. It is a fiction and a figment of Mark Begich's imagination.
Right, and I would just be very curious to see if there were signs around town that said Democrats for Sullivan, what the reaction in the media would be.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing. If there was a Democrat for Sullivan, those people would be ostracized. They would be harmed. If they owned a business, their business would be finished. You look at what Mark Begich did to Dan Sullivan in that ridiculous attack ad. And what you'll find, Bob, is these are people who are not, they don't pull any punches. Politics is everything to them. It is life. It is death. It's everything. It's their job. It's their friends.
Here's another point too. The timing on that ad. I mean, do you think like in the last 2 weeks of, the push to the election, do you think they're going to be running that ad?
You talking about the one on which ad are you talking about?
The horrible attack ad, Jerry Andrew Active.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that thing's done. That thing blew up in Beggage's face.
Well, they said they're redoing it. They're not getting rid of it.
They'll never go. They're not. That thing's done.
Oh.
That was the worst political move in the history of the state. Don't you think, Bob?
To run the ad about Sullivan's
involvement.
I guess involvement.
Lack of involvement.
In this murder.
Don't you think that so blew up in Beggage's face that he'll never revisit that again?
I would think so. Yeah. I mean, it's because people don't like that kind of negative. They see it as a sign of desperation. And I just thought, maybe they're thinking we'll run this early, and kind of get that in people's minds, about that, and then later on we'll have all the touchy-feely ads.
Yeah. What do you think, Bob, would have happened? And I understand that Mr. Sullivan had to respond, but it gave the media an opportunity to kind of spread the blame over both candidates when it's clearly 100% Beggage's fault. What do you think if Sullivan would have just held a press conference demanding that the ad come down instead of actually running an ad himself? That way it would have really been very clear that this is 100% Beggage-generated scandal.
Right. Geez. I don't know how I would handle that one. You got to really, because I'm sure it kind of caught him off guard a little bit, you think?
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty low down.
Normally the far left tendencies do not come out because this was, first of all, this is where the left's heart is. Their heart is, if you are a Republican, there is nothing you don't care about women, you don't care about children, you don't care about crime, you don't care about anything. You are the most despicable person. Normally they hold those things in check because once those kinds of things get out, let me just say this about it, Bob. If the day before the election, the following occurred, every person in the state of Alaska received an email, and they played for themselves this Begich ad saying, this is what Mark Begich thinks of his opponent. Dan Sullivan would win in a landslide. It would be a 70% turnout because people know and will know that doesn't have anything to do with Dan Sullivan. That is not who Dan Sullivan is, and that is exactly who Mark Begich is.
Mm-hmm.
Bob, unfortunately, we're out of time, but I appreciate your call.
All right. Yeah, have a good day.
Thank you. 569-1080, 569-1080. That's the number in Anchorage if you'd like to be a part of the broadcast. 6:58 is the time. You're listening to Fagan, Bonnie, and Biegel.
Do you live with stress? If you have nervousness or common everyday anxiety, we're looking for you. Because right now we're sending risk-free supplies of a fast-acting supplement to listeners
crawling downtown Anchorage, Cotton, on Saturday, September 20th.
Shiver me timbers, we'll need to batten down the hatches and set our
derived formula that promotes feelings of calmness, alertness, and focus in just moments. Supplies for this risk-free offer are limited, so don't wait. Just call 1-800-553-1696. Stress Block is a fast-acting, non-prescription formula to support relaxation without causing drowsiness. Your nervousness is guaranteed to begin fading like magic in just minutes. This special risk-free offer is for listeners of this station, but it won't last. Call us now for this exclusive Stress Block risk-free offer. Just call 1-800-553-1696. That's 1-800-553-1696. Call 1-800-553-1696.
You're listening to Hot Talk, KOAN, Anchorage, AM 1080, and retranslated on 95.1 FM on K236CG, Anchorage.
Fox News Radio, I'm Dave Anthony.
We must continue to stand united against Russia's aggression in Ukraine.
Telling our NATO allies, President Obama, that used to be part of the Soviet Union, the U.S. stands by them. Fox News Radio's Jared Halpern live in Washington.
Before attending what has become a very important NATO summit, President Obama offered reassurance to Baltic nations in a speech in Estonia, reminding allies the U.S. is bound by a treaty alliance that demands an attack on one is an attack on all.
So if in such a moment you ever ask again who will come to help, you'll know the answer. The NATO alliance, including the armed forces of the United States of America right here, present now.
And the president again warning Russia against further aggression in Ukraine, even as reports suggest a potential ceasefire. Dave.
Jared, the U.S. has confirmed a second American journalist was murdered by ISIS militants.
It's a punch to the gut.
Secretary of State Kerry. Stephen Solof's beheading has been condemned around the world. Fox News Radio's Rachel Sutherland live in D.C.
Dave, President Obama said the beheading only strengthens America's resolve to fight ISIS. He said the U.S. will continue to lead an international effort
against the kind of barbaric and ultimately empty vision that ISIL represents.
He vowed to destroy ISIS, but also said the group's influence could be reduced
to the point where it is a manageable problem.
The president cautioned it'll take time to roll back ISIS, but he's confident it will be done. Dave.
Regional Boston Marathon bombing victims are getting financial support. The One Fund charity has distributed another $18+ million to the families of 4 killed and dozens who had limbs blown off or severely damaged. A Michigan man gets at least 17 years in prison for killing an unarmed woman who was last year. Peter apologized to Renee McBride's family before sentencing. He had claimed he had feared for his safety when he shot her. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Attention homeowners, I'm Jay Farner, president of Quicken Loans. We've told you about HARP in the past. There are so many more of you who could be saving hundreds of dollars every month on your mortgage. It's simple and easy. And for 4 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. To learn more, call 800-QUICKEN.
Visit jdpower.com for award information. Important terms and conditions apply. Call us for cost information. Equal housing lender. Licensed all 50 states and MLS number 3030.
Gear up for fall and haul in the savings. Choose 0% 60-month financing or big cash off select John Deere tractors. From the 1 family to 150 horsepower utility tractors. Plus, get $1,500 off new 1 family tractors when you buy 2 implements. Offer ends October 31st, 2014, subject to approved credit on John Deere financial installment plan. Some restrictions apply. See your participating dealer for details.
Visit your local John Deere dealer today to take advantage of special savings going on now. Find out more at myjohndeeredealer.com.
This is Herb Ekman with Alaska Sausage. I have some news for you hunters. Our specials this year include our famous bratwurst, pastrami, Polish hot dog. Our specials are always very popular, and I believe you're really going to love these. We have been processing game meat for Alaskan hunters for over 45 years. We know a superior product starts with superior meat, and that's why we only accept clean game meat that's been well cared for before it gets to us. Our traditional old-world recipes turn your carefully prepared meat into superior products you will be happy to serve your family and friends.
Alaska Sausage, 2914 Arctic Boulevard. And for our Valley customers, there's no need to bring your game all the way to Anchorage. Now you can simply drop your clean, boneless meat at Smoked Alaska Seafoods in Wasilla, where Alaska Sausage will pick it up, complete your order, and bring it back to you.
Just tell them Herb sent you.
Trail Boss Solutions is an Alaskan-owned, nationally recognized top 500 construction and remodel firm. From our handyman services to our award-winning kitchen design and remodel, Trail Boss Solutions is fully licensed, bonded, and insured, and has the experienced professionals to take your project from initial design through completion on time and on budget. Please visit us on the web at trailboss-solutions.com or contact Trail Boss Solutions direct at 646-1408.
When I grow up, I want to be a pro basketball player. In elementary school,
You choose where you are in life. Country Financial helps you and your family.
Mom, doctor, and president of the United States. Maybe an astronaut or, an Olympic gymnast.
You can go your own way. We know some dreams take a little longer to achieve. which is why your local Country Financial representative offers helpful advice on everything. From auto and home insurance to financial planning, education to retirement, and business insurance too, so that you can continue to grow and dream.
Or maybe an accountant, like my dad.
For more information, visit countryfinancial.com or call 1-866-COUNTRY. Country Financial. Grow your own way.
Glenn, every once in a while you find a hidden gem right here in Anchorage.
You're talking about the Snow Leopard Boutique.
I am.
Owner Eileen Bear has an amazing eye for beauty.
For decorating ideas, it doesn't get any better than Snow Leopard Boutique.
They have 2,400 square feet of everything you need to beautify yourself and your home.
Glenn, I noticed a calming atmosphere the moment I walk in.
Dan, how about those chocolate truffles?
Yeah, and you can wash them down with a free latte.
The Snow Leopard Boutique.
At the corner of Tudor and Old Sword.
Hot Talk KOAN, man. You're Fagan and Biegel. Weekday mornings from 6 to 9 a.m. on the Talk of the Valley, KVNT.
$706. You need a new roof? My recommendation to you, and this is just, I'm not trying to tell you how to live your life, but my recommendation to you would be, if you don't have an adequate roof, get one. That's just sharing my heart here. And if you need a new roof, well, the folks at Earhart Roofing are the ones who can do it for you. Frank and Becky Earhart, their son James. It's a family-owned business. It's the American dream personified. Create a valuable product and watch your business grow. The Earhart started 42 years ago. Now they've got 17 trucks, 60 employees. They are the premier roofing company in Alaska. There's really no significant competition when it comes to quality. Earhart Roofing. Give them a call. 345-5555. 345-5555. And oh, by the way, if they install a roof for you, Frank and Becky and their son James, they guarantee it for 5 decades. That's right. That's not a misprint. 5 decades. Earhart Roofing, 345-5555. 7:07 in the a.m. Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie. Our number, 569-1080. I talked to a number of political insiders yesterday. I like to do that when I don't know when I'm not sure of the ramifications of a certain thing. Like, I didn't know what to think of this Walker Malott thing. I just don't know. So I called a bunch of my political insider friends. And all of them, every one of them, and this was completely different than my preconceived. I thought we were in real trouble because Sean Parnell is not a good candidate. And I thought this is trouble. All of these insiders that I talked to yesterday, all of them thought Walker still had no chance. And the general consensus was that the hard left, which there's 25% of our state that are hard, save the whales, communist, shut down the oil industry left, kill babies in droves, no restrictions on abortion left. I mean, these people are hardcore. Shannon Moore represents 25% of the populace.
Wasn't she partially behind this?
Yes, she was.
Okay.
But the consensus among my political insider people is that 25%, a very small percentage, is going to get behind this ticket. They just cannot bring themselves to voting for a Republican, and they feel so betrayed that their party leaders have basically given up.
Well, and Hollis stepped aside. I can't believe Hollis French stepped aside. I don't think he was doing it as willingly. They made it sound like it wasn't as willing as you had
Did you read his
yesterday.
sentence?
No.
It was, I had to step aside, and he was not happy.
I would not be happy either. I don't blame him.
He didn't really have to.
No.
I think people are trying to give answers to this way too early, and I know a lot of people want comfort. I don't, Sean Parnell has not been a great leader as governor.
Oh, I disagree. I think he's been a fantastic leader.
I'm sorry. He has not been a great spokesman. He does not come out and lead people. He may have passed a couple of good pieces of legislation, some of the most important in our state's history. No doubt about it.
I think he's been the best governor we've ever had.
People look at him and don't see a great leader because he's just not a great spokesman. He doesn't speak well. He doesn't present well. He doesn't inspire people. He doesn't present a vision. So anyway, I think people want to feel comforted, and a lot of the people who you will speak to are people who want this comfort.
Do you realize?
I don't think that they have any reason to be comforted. I couldn't disagree more with them. I think that this is a major development.
Do you realize how devastating Sarah Palin was as a governor?
Yeah.
Do you realize the destruction she brought to our state? And Parnell fixed every one of that, every one of those bad decisions. And he fixed what voters did with the cruise ship initiative. He's been amazing governor.
But most people don't know that. That's what Glenn's saying.
But you just said he's been a bad leader.
That's right.
In not telling people what he's done. He needs to get out there and tell people.
So is that, because if that's the definition of a leader, Mark Begich is the greatest leader in the history of mankind. If taking credit is the sign of a leader, then Mark Begich has never been a greater leader.
No, but you got to do it and then let people know you did it.
A leader like Dan Sullivan running for Senate is a guy with results. That's a leader.
Yeah, he needs to talk about his record. Like Dan Sullivan did. Sean Parnell needs to talk about his record.
Now, when Dan Sullivan was running for Senate against your boy, Joe Miller,
I know.
All you said was, oh, Dan Sullivan does it, talk about his record.
Well, that's because he didn't like back it up. He didn't have the he just talked about his record. That's all I heard was record.
Because it's an amazing
Sean Parnell
record.
doesn't need to say record. He just needs to say, this is what I've done. This is what you got to explain yourself. So I see what Glenn's saying in that he needs to tell people, I fixed the cruise ship industry. I brought them back. I fixed ACEs. I brought oil back. He needs to be talking about what he's done. I didn't do Medicaid. Of course, for a lot of people, that's a bad thing.
16,000 jobs.
Say it.
Created under this guy.
Yeah.
He's been an amazing governor.
He needs to be forceful with it.
He's been an amazing leader.
He should come out.
Better let people know.
He should come out, not just on Facebook,
and
talk about this.
Terrible even on this show.
Do you realize if he gets another term, the prosperity we're going to see in this state?
Absolutely.
Do you realize if we get rid of Begich in combination with Parnell in there, we're going to see explosion of prosperity in the state? How can you say he's not a great leader?
We're a land of fantastic opportunities.
Is it because he didn't go on your school choice stuff? He even did stuff on that.
Yeah, he even worked on school choice.
What is this? He's not a great leader stuff.
He hasn't. That's what I see is what I think most people in Alaska see, and that is he does not present himself well.
But his results.
He does not present his vision well.
What about his results?
I'm glad he got rid of ACEs. I think that was fantastic. He made that, and I think that really is his signature. But that's a 53-47 win. That's what you've got to understand. The best he can do at this point, up against Walker and Malott, and I totally disagree that the left won't come along board. This is the foundation of what we're talking about here, Dan, is not in a vacuum where we're not looking at a political outcome, where we're not talking about politics. We're talking about this in political terms. You're saying that the left will not come on board with a Malott-Walker ticket. I disagree. I think that they are going to be, because here's the thing. Conservatives love to disagree. We love to talk about all the hard issues that are theoretical.
You said Parnell's not a good leader.
Because we're talking about him in a political sense.
What's more important than SB 21?
He won.
Is there any piece of legislation in the last 100 years
Let me ask you this, Dan.
That's more important than SB 21?
We won at 53-47. What do you think the actual, real, live, if everybody knew every fact about what has happened to the state of Alaska, about what promises have been made, about what offers have been made, about what new projects are coming.
But you didn't win by enough points? Is that your indictment of this guy?
Yeah. That's an example of leadership.
He passed the most important piece of legislation in the history of the state.
I think that makes my case.
And you're saying he didn't win it by enough points?
That's exactly right. Thank you very much. And you made my case. He should have won the 60-40.
He's not a good leader?
That's exactly right. He won the 60. He should have won 60-40. He won it 50. It's terrifying to watch him.
7-14. 7:14.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning. KOAN.
What in the name of Blackbeard's ghost is going on here?
Yar, it's the 2014 Pirate Pub Crawl in downtown Anchorage, Captain, on Saturday, September 20th.
Shiver me timbers, we'll need to batten down the hatches and set our course to help raise money for the Blood Bank of Alaska's treasure chest, else we'll be sent to Davy Jones' locker.
Aye, navigate your way to Town Square at 7 p.m. for a group photo with your crew. Make way anytime after 7 p.m. to the participating pubs in downtown Anchorage with your treasure map to win 80,000 air miles and more.
I need it now! Jive ho to anchoragedowntown.org for more details and discounts on hotel stay, costumes, and parking at Easy Park lots for the night.
Yo ho, me hearties!
We best be seeing your scallywags at the Pirate Pub Crawl on September 20th.
Brought to you by the Anchorage Downtown Pirate Ship, K&H Graphics, the Blood Bank of Alaska, the Odom Corporation, Dooley's Tuxedos and Rentals, and Alaska Integrated Media.
With a Sam's Club membership, you get incredible savings every time you shop. For a limited time, Sam's Club members get a special savings book with more than $5,000 in extra savings. Make it a great weekend with Pepsi, Hefty Supreme plates, and Bounty paper towels, all at members-only prices. Come into Sam's Club today to get your savings book with more than $5,000 in extra savings. Join and save. Sam's Club. Life is better when you're in the club. See club for details.
You take a 5, a 5, a 9, and a 7. Add them all up, it's the number of heavenly sights you see when you get on board the 26 Glacier Cruise.
Discover glaciers and wildlife in Prince William Sound with Phillips Cruises and Tours. Choose our 26 Glacier Cruise or the Glacier Quest. Both include hot lunch, forest service narration, and no seasickness guarantee. Visit 26glaciers.com to book your adventure today.
It's 26. I said the 26. The 26 Glacier Cruise.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel. Fagan, Biegel. Weekdays, 6 to 9 a.m. The Talk of the Valley.
$7:17 in the morning. Pay less. Don't pay more. Pay less car sales. Ali Sheik. He runs the fastest growing auto dealership in the state of Alaska. He's now the second largest auto dealership in Anchorage. Here's the thing about Ali Sheik. He understands the key to success in business is relationships. Not trying to make a quick buck. Treating your customer right so they'll come back and they'll tell their friends and their neighbors and their coworkers. And Ali Sheik will put you into a vehicle, car, truck, SUV, that will have you raving about your deal. You'll be telling your friends and your neighbors, saying, man, you got to go see Ali Sheik over at Payless Car Sales. Look what he got me into for how much. That's the beauty of Ali Sheik. When you meet him, you shake his hand, you're going to know right off the bat, this guy is a special guy. And Glenn and I can tell you, if you go see him, you tell him that Glenn and I told you to go see him, he will treat you right. He absolutely will. And you're going to have a reliable, nice, beautiful vehicle for the winter. Not going to have to worry about whether it'll start when it's 10 below. Is there anything worse than that? Getting up in the morning and the car not starting in winter? Time to go to Payless Car Sales. He's on 919 Fifth Avenue, Ali Sheik. 919 East 5th Avenue, Payless Car Sales. Our number 718. No, I'm sorry, that's the time. 718 is the time. 569-1080. I'm still a little struck by Glenn's assertion that Sean Parnell is not a good leader. It could be a semantics thing. Let me ask you a question. Because I think he's been the best governor we've ever had. I really do. I think Frank Murkowski had the best vision and the best ideas and the best worldview of any governor we've had, but he was ineffective. Parnell was very effective. He cleaned up Sarah Palin's mess. No small task. He put us back on the road to prosperity. So when you say he's a bad leader, let me ask you a question. Do you also believe he was a bad governor?
No, I don't think it was particularly the bad governor. I got the sense from the conservatives who are in the legislature that he did not guide legislation, that he did not lead in helping. For instance, I wrote down 3 things: the budget, operating budget. He was, basically you could consider him to be somewhat of a failure. That's Walker's going to make that case. He does not make the alternative case that he was really good on the budget.
But I want to talk in reality here, because
What is the reality? How did he do on the operating budget?
Hold on. Well, we'll talk about that in a second.
Okay.
But when you say he's a bad leader, I don't want to talk about perception and all. I want to talk about reality. I think you talk about the budget. They split $3 billion into the PERS and TERS.
Yeah, paying off our
the Brad Keithleys of the world. They don't mention that when they talk about the budget and how much they've spent. So their operating budget is not this horrific, horrendous, drunken sailor fest as the Brad Keithleys of the world make it out to be. That $3 billion is savings. That's pretty wise spending.
Yeah, it's moving it from one savings account to another.
But the bottom line is that's considered a...
okay, but leave that aside. Did we do well on the operating budget?
Well,
how do you know?
Well, as a staunch fiscal conservative who thinks state government's probably 3 times the size it should be.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm very.
Well, what would you like a leader to do then? Maybe I'm not understanding what you think leading.
Well, the very first thing that this governor,
with a massively Republican House and Senate,
the very first thing this governor had to do is fix ACES. That pipeline would have been shut down before we could have blunk our eyes. And big environment and Halls French and Les Guerra and Bill Lukowski would have won. So that was his first goal. If you start slashing the government 25% before you fix ACES, forget it, man. You're never going to fix ACES.
Yeah.
Because the people are going to go, wait a minute, look at our schools, look at all the people how starving. He had to fix ACES first.
So a political strategy that he was employing was, I got to fix ACES. I'm not really going to cut a whole lot. We're not going to get rid of a lot of number of employees. The capital budget's going to be pretty big.
Look, when you look at states and how this totally blew my mind, and this really is one of the things that has endeared John Parnell to me. And I know there's something about you, Glenn, just like with me and Sarah Palin. Something about you and Parnell. Come on now. And it's just like Bonnie with Dan Sullivan. There's just something about you. I don't know what it is. Maybe like Dan Sullivan rolled his eyes at Bonnie. Maybe Parnell rolled his eyes at you or something. But there's something about you and Parnell. But when you look at the amount of money an average state worker makes compared to a comparable job in the private sector, on the federal level, it's 35% more.
Yeah.
In California, it was 28% more. In Alaska, it's 5% more. So we've done a pretty good job here in the state
of holding down the costs of state employees.
That's right.
Yeah, that's absolutely
Which is a huge. Sure. We're one of the top 10 in the nation. Did you know that?
One of the top 10 best.
Yes.
Yeah, as far as equating public sector work with private sector
work. Right, and I don't even know what the number is in Anchorage, but I'm sure it's off the charts. Make it.
It's got to be 35,
right,
40%. Yeah.
So I'm looking at that. I'm thinking, well, that's pretty good. This guy, somebody stood up to the union somewhere.
Yeah.
Because the union
Palin did, and Murkowski did, and Parnell did.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's leadership. You got to fix the ACEs first. I don't understand how you can't say he's not a good governor.
But leadership, when people don't know about it, which is the context in which we're talking about.
Okay. Well, if you would have qualified your remarks by saying, I think he's a bad leader because he gets things done, but nobody knows about it.
I did say that. That is exactly what I said.
So you think he was
said
a
it
good
4 or
governor.
5 times.
But you're saying, Dan, that he's not a good candidate because
he's a terrible candidate. So you're saying that
you're right. It's semantic.
Yeah, he's a good governor, but a bad leader.
No, I hope that he becomes a good candidate, because if he does not become a good candidate, I don't think he can win. I think he needs to come out and give us his vision and show how he can lead, tell us what he's done, show how the state is going to survive and it's going to thrive and we're in a great position. I think that those are all the things that he is going to have to learn how to do that he has not demonstrated the ability to do. And if he does not do those things, if people still don't know the great story that Alaska is about to be.
for his money, and he's actually going to have to work for it.
Is my hope. What you have just said is my total hope here, and that in most cases, when we are challenged, when our boss comes to us and says, you're not putting in what you need doing, right? You're not doing enough. And what we will do is we'll rise to the challenge. If a teacher comes up and says to us, I know you're better than this. I know you've got more in you. We rise. Sean Parnell has got to rise. He has got to face this challenge. He's got to realize this is not, oh, it's going to be 6 points, and there's no way they can get any closer. Look, I don't know how we can get any farther away than 6 points. We just won 53-47. There's no way it can be any further away than 6 points. 6 points is the absolute outside maximum number of votes that he can win by.
You know, I don't really put a lot of credibility into the 53-46, was it?
You know, it may have changed because at the end, I think there was like 15,000 more votes absentee that came in. So I don't know what the final numbers are.
I was on the golf course the Saturday before the Tuesday election, and there were two guys that were ahead of me, and we were kind of behind them on the tee box, and they were talking, and I was just listening. And they literally didn't know what yes on one meant and what no on one meant. And one guy said, well, so no means higher taxes. They wanted to vote the right way.
Yeah, they wanted to vote for lower taxes.
They did. And the other guy said,
no
means lower taxes. And he goes, no, yes means lower taxes. No, you sure? Because I thought it was no. They also didn't know. I walked up to him and explained it to him. But, Glenn, this ballot initiative, the person should be shot who let this thing go.
Hey, it's Sean Parnell.
Let me finish. This thing is 5 pages of gobbledygook that no one understands. And the last line in the ballot initiative is, should this measure be rejected? Anyone who starts reading it, no one read it all, they're going to go to the last line, yes, reject this thing.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, I don't know how many, but I would not be surprised if 10% of people who said yes wanted that law to fail.
But whose call was that? Was that me, Treadwell?
Well, it would have been the lawyers that put it together. Parnell has no.
Yeah, but the wording,
No,
I mean, that can always be changed by the leadership.
Out. He needed to let people know.
Yeah, but Glenn, you have to understand, there's a significant portion of our population that doesn't read or watch the media, or like these guys in front of me.
Did they vote?
Yes, these guys were talking about. They were trying to figure out what to do. And one, they wanted to do the right thing.
Yeah.
We live this stuff. I mean, we should do a Sean Hannity here. We should go to the mall. We should have done this. We should have gone to the mall.
That would have been great.
And said, are you going to vote? Yes, I'm going to vote. Well, how are you going to vote on one? And what does that mean? We'd have been shocked how many people had no idea what one meant. So my point is that 53-46, it was so slighted for the yes people with that last line. When I first saw that line, I couldn't believe it. I would say that my guess is a total guess. Anywhere from 3 to 10 to 12% of people who voted yes thought they were rejecting Prop 1.
Well, I'd like to know the facts on that.
I do have a friend.
Why not?
I have a friend who that night said, "Oh no, I think I voted wrong."
Yeah. What'd she vote?
She wanted to vote no, and she voted yes.
That's 3 people that we've just mentioned
who didn't know how to vote.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I'm
and
telling
she's involved. She knows things.
That last line on that initiative.
Yeah.
I can almost guarantee there were 10% of people who thought they were rejecting Prop 1 but voted for it because of that last line. It may even be higher.
That will be that's very hopeful to me, but that goes to prove my point. So thank you for
But in November, we're going to have AO 37, the union thing, and the pot and the minimum wage.
I don't see anybody stepping up for AO 37 to make their case on it. The unions are going to make their case.
That's
their
right.
boys are going to turn out.
That's right. So, I mean, we've got a lot of liberal things, or left-leaning issues coming up in that November election. And
729.
The left-leaning side of libertarians.
569-1080.
Because there's 2 factions there.
The only faction I care about is death culture. I'm neutral. 569-1080. 729 in the morning. 80. 729 in the morning.
the Fox News Business. Fagan, the best or nothing.
From the Fox Business Network, stocks are trading mostly higher after Kiev and pro-Russian rebels agreed to a ceasefire in eastern Ukraine. At around 11 a.m. Eastern, the Dow Industrial's up 64 points. Factory orders jumped a record 10.5% in July, although that's slightly below the estimate. Demand for transportation orders was strong, specifically for commercial aircraft. Excluding transportation, orders actually fell, although the setback is expected to be temporary. General Dynamics has landed a contract from the British Army valued at more than $5.7 billion. The defense contractor will build armored vehicles in what is the largest order of its kind in 30 years. And CVS Caremark has changed its name to CVS Health as it stops the sale of tobacco products nearly 1 month earlier than planned. The cigars and cigarettes that used to fill the shelves have been replaced with nicotine gum and other products that help people kick the tobacco habit. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Ashley Webster.
You've been thinking about moving over to solar power for your home. So are a lot of other people, which is why some power companies are pushing for extra fees to make up the difference. Get caught in the middle or go with a trusted local solar company and actually own it with no down payment, interest, or payments for a whole year. Get all the tax incentives you're entitled to while you still can. We finance. Call for your free in-home assessment. Call 1-800-MY-SOLAR today.
My home, my savings, 1-800-MY-SOLAR.
With KOAN News, I'm Chuck White. Prosecutors will not move forward with charges against the driver who struck and killed a bicyclist in Midtown on January 2nd. They say surveillance video indicated 59-year-old TJ Justice could not have seen Eldridge Griffith on his bicycle because his field of vision was being blocked by another vehicle and could not have stopped in time. A review of the case reportedly indicated Griffith, who was 65 years old and a retired state youth counselor, did not yield to traffic when he entered Northern Lights Boulevard seconds before he was hit. Archaeologists have made an important find in western Alaska. Archaeologists and students from the University of Aberdeen in Scotland say they've uncovered artifacts such as household items, jewelry, and weapons that offer some insight into ancient Yupik culture. That's your Hot Talk News update. Local weather is next.
For today, high 60. Clear for the rest of your Wednesday, low 42. Cloudy on Thursday, high tomorrow 58. Tomorrow night, low 48. Cloudy with occasional rain for Friday, high 59. Saturday, mostly cloudy with a bit of rain, high 58. And for Sunday, high again, 58. Hot Talk, breaking news, and the latest weather. KOAN 95.1 FM and 1080 AM.
BTY Dental is pleased to announce their grand opening in Anchorage. With multiple locations, they're the most conveniently located dental practice in town. They accept TRICARE, Medicaid, Denali Kid Care, and most forms of insurance. BTY Dental is always accepting new patients, and they offer several different methods of sedation, including IV sedation to help put you at ease through your treatment. BTY Dental also offers wisdom teeth extractions and implants, as well as a full range of restorative dental treatment. BTY Dental accepts same-day and walk-in appointments, and with extended hours open from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., it's never been easier to schedule. BTY Dental is looking to change the world one smile at a time, starting with yours. Several locations throughout Anchorage, BTY Dental is here to make your life better than yesterday. For more information, visit btydental.com or call 333-6666. Now that's 333-6666. Come now.
Did you know that one of the state's premier medical facilities is located right in the heart of South Anchorage? Thanks to the Alaska Neurology Center, there's no need to leave Alaska anymore when it comes to treating the nervous system. You'll receive the best care at the Alaska Neurology Center for epilepsy, cerebral palsy, brain injuries, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, Huntington's disease, multiple sclerosis, speech disorders, and they offer pain management as well. And if you're having trouble sleeping at night, the Alaska Neurology Center has the best sleep disorder experts in the state. They also have the most sophisticated MRI imaging technology in Alaska. If you need relief from stress or from migraines, relax in their luxurious spa. At the Alaska Neurology Center, their massage therapists are amazing, and they offer hydrotherapy, infrared sauna, hot and cold therapy, and shiatsu massage. And their medical spa also offers facials and waxing. The Alaska Neurology Center, located on Diamond and Old Seward.
Glen Biegel, you have beautiful teeth. Why, thank you, Dan Fagan. That's because my family and I have gone to Dr. Dan Kiley for years. I get scared at the dentist. Dr. Kiley knows people like you are afraid, so he creates a relaxed atmosphere at his office. People actually like going to the dentist with Dr. Kiley.
I know it's important to have good dental health.
And you look better with good teeth. And Dr. Kiley offers cosmetic dentistry along with general care.
Visit Dr. Dan Kiley at lakeotisdental.com. Call him at 562-9209.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning. Give him a call. You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning on the Talk of the Valley, KVN.
7:35 on a Wednesday morning on an abbreviated week thanks to Labor Day. Glad you're here on Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie. My friends over at Chugach Chiropractic, Dr. Myron Schweigert and his team, they're all about helping you live a healthy, vibrant, pain-free life. You don't have to walk around in pain. It's not a given, folks. You know, some people get into the mode that, well, got this backache, got this ache here, ache there. This is how life is. Well, no, not really. The team at Chugach Chiropractic, they've got all kinds of solutions, natural solutions that can help alleviate pain, avoid surgery. Give them a call over at Chugach Chiropractic. You'll be thrilled you did. So many people have gone to Dr. Schweigert through the years and just came out of there new people. Living in pain is not as good as living without pain. And Chugach Chiropractic and Dr. Myron Schweigert can help you with that. Here's the number, 694-9224. And it's not always just about pain. They can make some adjustments and do some things that will really just give you more energy, give you more vibrancy. Chugach Chiropractic, 694-9224. 694-9224. They have a great weight loss program, too, Shape Reclaimed. I'm going in on Friday for my next weigh-in. I'm expecting big things. 694-9224, Chugach Chiropractic. The number here on the Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie show is 569-1080. 569-1080. Herman. Hello, Herman.
Oh.
You are on.
Okay, explain to me A37.
AO37, it was a law that was passed by the Anchorage Assembly, supported by the mayor. He has, and it has to do with governing how contracts can be written with our public employees unions for the city of Anchorage. It puts limitations. Mark Begich put all kinds of unique qualifiers, pay scales, raises, extended contracts, terms that we'd never seen before. And what Dan Sullivan decided to do was, we can never let that happen again. If the unions hire a mayor like Mark Begich, we can't give them free rein. They have to have some limitations on it. So there are 5 or 6 primary limitations on the kinds of contracts that can be written to public employees.
To sum it up in just layman's term, Herman, it prevents the union boss from sitting on both sides of the negotiating table and having access to as much taxpayer money as he wants. That's the gist of what AO37 does.
All right. That's all I need to know.
All right. Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Well, you know, you look at these contracts. First of all, it's the, I don't know if it's, you know, Glenn, you and I have been covering stuff in Alaska for 15 years. There's a lot of things that we look back at and say that's egregious. You know, the Murkowski, Frank giving his seat to his daughter, the Parnell hiring Terrio and Dahlstrom, the crime lab. There's a lot of things that would just, you go, oh my goodness, I can't believe they did that.
Yeah.
I don't know of any scandal that had more of an impact on more people than Mark Begich giving away the farm, generating these new contracts with these public employee unions that will obviously hurt taxpayers tremendously through the years, property taxpayers. I don't know that there's anything that had more of an impact on people than Begich giving away the farm to the unions when he was mayor.
I don't know how you measure the impact, but I'll tell you, if people don't remember this, Mark Begich had just gotten elected. They had indicted Ted Stevens. And that's really the only reason Mark Begich won the seat. So they had indicted Ted Stevens. They found him guilty. They later exonerated him. So there are not even charges up against Ted Stevens, God rest his soul. Mark Begich, before he left office and before these contracts actually came up for renegotiated the contracts, said specifically, before I leave office, I will renegotiate these contracts. He writes 5-year contracts. Dan, if I told you I'm going to write you a 5-year contract, why would you strive for excellence if I wrote you a 5-year contract? Wouldn't that change the way that you look at life and everything else?
The city was in deficit mode. This is when that bubble had just bursted.
Yep.
And the economy was really not that good.
Oh, it was terrible.
And he was giving away the farm.
Begich had given false information to the assembly, and then later had not even provided them information.
Yeah.
L.V. Gray Jackson had the classic comment that
liberal assemblywoman. She didn't even need to know what the financial impact of these laws were. Yeah.
She didn't care.
Contracts.
These contracts, yeah. So anyway, but
it was scandalous.
A 5-year contract. So that's one of the things that's changed. So
it basically handcuffed Dan Sullivan, mayor.
Yeah.
When he got his first term, he really had no say in the budget because Begich had so given away the farm to the unions.
2/3 of the leadership of the city are in these contracts because you couldn't have competition.
Right.
Their raises were guaranteed, which meant we were going to have fewer police. These contracts guaranteed we would have fewer police on the streets.
Oh, yeah.
There was just no way around it because we couldn't raise taxes enough.
Listen to me, folks. Mark Begich was a horrid mayor. Horrible. Not for the government employee and the union boss. He was the greatest mayor we've ever had. But for the taxpayer, there's never been a greater enemy of the Anchorage property taxpayer than Mark Begich. Right?
Yeah. And he was a great leader, by the way. I want people to realize Mark Begich, that leadership does not mean good things, and I think it's very important.
So Adolf Hitler's a great leader.
Exactly.
And then he gets stuff done.
He got stuff done even if it was horrendous.
Is a great leader.
Obama's a great leader.
He turned 1/6 of our economy over to the government.
So the parts of this bill, by the way, that are controversial, and it's important for people to know that there are some controversial parts of this. Number one, when there's a disagreement between the unions say, well, look, we want 5% raises or 6% raises or 7% raises, and the negotiator on behalf of the city says, well, we can't afford that. I'm not gonna cut employees in order to give you raises that I can't afford. You can only have 2% or 3% pay raises. That goes to an arbitrator, and the arbitrator's ruling is binding. People have got to understand that it's not even an elected person at all. It's some lawyer who could have no say at all. He has no dog in the fight. He could care less how much taxes we have to pay. The arbitrator's ruling is binding. AO 37 removes that. This is very controversial to the unions because the arbitrator would always come back and side about 70% with the unions. If they wanted 7%, and the city said you can have 2%, they would come back and say, okay, we got to give them 6% raises. That is controversial, but it's very important that people know that when the paper talks about it being controversial. Another one that's controversial, the strike provisions are much different than the strike provisions under Begich. About half of the people who work for the city of Anchorage will not be allowed to strike while they're in negotiation for their contract. And they do not like that because the strike is the nuclear bomb. They'd be in the unions. The unions don't like the idea that they can't send a nuclear bomb and blow things up. And so that is a far different change, too. That one, I think, actually will probably be repealed under most circumstances, regardless of what mayor we get. That's my guess.
7:44 is the time.
my guess.
7:44 is the time.
Fagan and Biegel on Hot Talk KOAN and online at 1080KOAN.com.
Take action, move forward, and connect like never before with Valpak. Precisely target your best prospects by selecting households based on geography, demographics, consumer behavior, and more. Generate tangible, measurable results to better track ROI and enjoy added exposure each month when Valpak teams up with big brands and prominent names.
Check out Valpak Values, Allstate Insurance, Northern Lights Coupon Book, Massage Envy, Scouting Cruise and Holiday Auction, Alaska Car Transport, and Dental Specials.
Who was the last Alaska governor to see 16,000 new jobs created on his watch? Was it Wally Hickel, Jay Hammond, Bill Egan? The last governor to see 16,000 new jobs is our current governor, Sean Parnell. Alaska is in the middle of a jobs boom. Since Sean Parnell took office, the Alaska economy has produced some 16,000 new jobs. And you can bet there are more jobs coming. Listen to Jim Huffman, president of a trucking company in Fairbanks.
This year we are buying new trucks, hiring new people. I could put 20 truck drivers to work tomorrow if we could find them. I give the credit to Governor Parnell.
Alaska's economy is back on track. 16,000 new Alaska jobs since Sean Parnell became our governor. That's why Parnell 2014, Box 100719, Anchorage, pay for this message.
Find a job you'll enjoy going to every day. Come to the annual job fair on September 10th at the Egan Center from 10 p.m. You'll have the chance to meet with more than 60 businesses. Dress your best and come to meet local employers looking for employees just like you. Change your future. September 10th at the Egan Center. Free resume evaluations and resume updating assistance on site. Full-time, part-time, and seasonal jobs available. The Fall Job Fair, sponsored by Alaska Dispatch News and Alaska Integrated Media.
Hot Talk KOAN, man. You're on with Fagan and Biegel. 1080 KOAN Biegel. Weekday mornings from 6 to 9 a.m. on the Talk of the Valley, KVNT.
All right, 7:47. Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie in the morning. Right here on KOAN, KVNT. Only radio program on 4 different signals across the state. That's a pretty good deal. We're excited about it. You know, our friend Mike Daniels and his team of representatives at Country Financial, they must feel pretty good about themselves and sleep well at night, knowing that they're putting people on the right path financially. Country Financial has 13 locations in Alaska. Their expert successful retirement planning will help you get on the path you need to get on to make sure that when you do eventually retire, you're going to have a worry-free retirement. They're going to ask you the right questions. They're going to make sure you're not underinsured, which is such a big deal. Country Financial. Mike Daniels, give his team a call. The number 866-COUNTRY. 866-COUNTRY. Again, 13 locations in Alaska. 5 in Anchorage, 5 in the Valley. Don't think you're just going to stumble into retirement. It doesn't happen that way, folks. You've got to rely on the people who are wise in this area, and that's Mike Daniels and his team at Country Financial. Go see a representative. Again, the number 866-COUNTRY, and country is spelled
COUNTRY.
It's not funny anymore. It used to. I never thought the day would come when that wasn't funny.
Then you start spelling it. Maybe it'll be funny again.
Yeah, actually, that would be funny if you asked him.
COUNTRY.
Rah, rah, rah.
Were you a cheerleader?
I was.
Oh, my.
Does that surprise you?
That's why. That is why. That is where we've heard that before. That's what.
You know, at some point, perkiness can get annoying.
I can't believe if you just said that.
No, totally agree.
What,
This is always
at
fun.
8 o'clock in the morning?
Katie Couric could get annoying.
Katie
Never.
Couric is not perky. She's a hard, angry left.
I'll try to be less perky for you, Dan.
I appreciate that.
Do not do that.
You don't have to smile all the time.
Get me talking about something I'm not happy about. I'll stop smiling.
You know, I'm looking back at the time you've been on the show, and the one time that I think you clearly were not happy. You're a very upbeat, happy person, smiling all the time. It's annoying. But when I was grilling you about the 20 million illegal aliens,
yes,
and you did not want to answer that question, and Brian had the camera on your face when I'm drilling you on it, and you were pissed.
Was that when someone said that I scare them?
Oh, yes, yes, that's right.
And it wasn't because of my face.
That's right. That's right. It's because of your position.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were not happy. I was a little worried looking back at the video, thinking, oh,
yeah,
she's going to come over across the table.
Those darn laws. If they just wouldn't be in the way.
569-1080, 569-1080. You know, we've been on the air now about 9 weeks. We're so glad you found us. Again, we're on 4 different signals. 95.1 FM in Anchorage is the one that we would recommend you go to. That's the strongest signal. Blankets all of Anchorage and Eagle River, and we'd love to have you go to that. If you're listening to 1080 AM, I'd recommend flipping over to 95.1 FM. We're also on out in the Valley at 92.1 FM, which is on in Anchorage and the Valley, and then out in the Valley at 1020 AM. So we're on 4 different signals, 2 signals on FM in Anchorage alone. We're excited about the show. We're having a great time. Bonnie was a great addition. Glenn and I have always dreamed of doing a show together, and it's turned out to be everything we always thought it would be. But we would ask you, those of you listening, who've made us a habit in the morning, and we know that we've grown considerably in the 9 weeks we've been on the air. We would ask you to help us with that, and talk to your friends and neighbors and say, man, you got to check out this show in the morning on KOAN and KVNT. We've got this woman on there. All she ever does is smile, and it's very annoying. You want to hear that. And then Glenn with his waves and waves of wisdom coming out of the airwaves.
Well, I have to make up for both of you, so that's a big job.
Because we're both grumpy and dour. Dour.
I think somebody told me angry old men, but you know, really? I won't.
Somebody called us angry.
I've gotten to old. I don't want to be old.
Oh, you're ancient, man.
I'm ancient.
How old are you?
46.
Yeah, you're way over the hill.
Yeah. Yeah, you can live a long time these days. And well, my dad is doing great. He turned 80.
Wow.
Turns 80 this year.
Wow.
Yeah. And
good health?
Oh, yeah. Really good health. And people like your mother.
Yep.
She's in great health. She knows she can take care of things. She still does things.
Oh, she works out every day.
Yeah. My mom quilts 10 to 12 hours a day.
Wow.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Love quilting.
Wow.
Do you?
Love
quilting and knitting?
No, I quilt.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I love to quilt.
Such a liar. I thought you were about truth.
How old your parents?
72, I think. Yep.
It's amazing. You wonder how long people will live 50 years from now. Because it keeps going up, right?
Yeah.
Of course,
there are some people convinced we are going to add more than a year starting in about 10, 15 years because of advances in medicine. That we will be able to reverse aging in about 15 years.
But there's also a lot of, we eat so much more sugar and flour and processed foods than we ever have. If we were to eat like we ate, I remember I read once that at the turn of the century, the average, this is not accurate, but it was something like this. The average person ate a cup or a cup of sugar a year.
Oh my God!
Now it's like 50 cups a year.
I'd be surprised if it wasn't a day.
Yeah, I mean it's ridiculous, especially with Coke.
Yeah, because that's what I'm thinking too.
Yeah.
Is you think about sugar soft drinks.
Right.
I made jelly this last weekend, crab apple jelly.
Yeah.
And I think it made 9 jars, and there was 7.5 cups of sugar.
Yeah,
it's like 95% sugar.
Yeah,
plus
it's
all
ridiculous.
That fast food out there, the McDonald's and tacos. Is there anything worse for you than Taco Bell?
What? Taco Hell.
And Taco Bell's nasty, man. You couldn't pay me to eat Taco Bell.
Okay, I'm gonna hold on a second. I'm gonna fix my ears.
It's not real.
I know
food.
Taco Bell is a staple.
It's not real food, It's all chemicals.
Cinnamon twists.
Oh.
There it is. He nailed it.
Love
Thank
'em.
you.
That's the only thing good I like there, though.
But
What are you
the
talking
cheese,
about?
The
They're
cheese isn't really
beef.
cheese.
Burrito.
That's not
Come
beef.
on.
It melts.
That's
That's
not
all
what
that
it is.
matters.
Beef, cheese.
That's not
melted
real food, though.
cheese.
I probably went there almost every day growing up.
Taco Bell?
Yeah, with my mom. She'd take me after school for a
All
little
right, give me
snack.
5. See,
Yeah.
that's what I'm talking about. That's America. That's America.
That's growing up in
Look,
Anchorage.
That's America. I love America.
So when the first Taco Bell came to Anchorage, everybody probably flipped out, huh?
Yeah, when it was over on Diamond across from.
Do you guys remember the
Borders.
joke that was somebody played out on Bethel?
Oh, I remember,
remember
that.
that?
They said there was a Taco Bell coming to.
Yeah, there's
to
a Taco
Bethel.
Bell, and they were going to give out free tacos or something for like the first 1,000 or 5,000 customers. They had people signing up to work there, and I mean it was.
I mean, I think they had a news
Yeah.
crew go up there,
Yeah.
thinking that it was going to
what,
be there,
what
getting
the sad
reaction.
thing was, and this actually may make you cry, Dan. This is what happened. Taco Bell was so taken aback by the response to this because they had no intention of putting a Taco Bell out in Bethel.
Right.
That they sent free tacos out
Yeah.
there in order to placate the uprising that came about because people learned that there was not going to be a Taco Bell.
You
Yeah,
know,
they made it into a PR thing. They shot a commercial on it, sent in a taco truck, and yeah, it's crazy.
Wow.
you know, my tenure at Channel 2, I don't know that I went to every village in the state, but I went to a lot of them.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time, I think it was Nome. In a lot of these villages, they have their community store. And I walked in, and it was a Burger King in Nome. And the Whopper was like $14.
Oh, my word.
My gosh.
I couldn't believe $14.
How would you even buy that?
Is this the same hamburger that you get in Anchorage for $2.99? $14.
It's made with the gold from their shores.
Yeah.
Believe it.
Oh, yeah, you go in there, and I went to the commercial company or something. It was with the name of the local store. I worked out of Beaumont for a couple of summers.
Oh, I've been there.
And I walked in there, and, you know, I wanted to get some milk or whatever. So I think I wanted a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and some milk. I just had it. I didn't want the whatever food they were feeding me over at fish camp because I did commercial fish processing. And I walked in there to get some milk, and it was $9 a gallon. And you just sat there and stared at it for a while and thought, how does anyone live here?
Do I really want this milk?
How is it possible to live here?
Yeah.
It costs, I think, $1 per pound to ship. And this was back in the early 90s. So milk, you're talking about $1.50 a gallon.
Well, you should have worked for the state. I worked for Fish and Game in Kodiak, and they brought a steak and all kinds of stuff.
Aw.
You know, that was paid for
I
by
love the state.
other
Doggone
people.
it, Dan. Won't you just admit here on this program that it is our oil?
It is.
Why don't you understand that?
It is our. We're victims of the oil companies.
The doggone oil companies. What are they? $120 billion
They're just
invested
rich,
into the state of it.
greedy,
They're ripping us off, and it's our oil.
taking advantage of us.
I wish I could work with this.
If only we had a governor who'd stand up to big oil and have them stop raping and pillaging the land.
Can I take back something I said or modify?
Yeah.
About the leadership of the governor.
You said the governor's a bad leader.
Bad leader in public.
And I would submit to you that I think he's the best governor we've ever had.
And to turn a huge ship around, like the decline in the oil pipeline.
Monumental achievement.
That is leadership. He had leadership where it counted, not in the public to and fro, back and forth. He's terrible in that arena. But where it counted, with the oil industry, turning around the decline, that took real leadership. And that's something that he gave.
It's an incredible achievement.
But nobody knows about it.
I think plenty of people know about it. That's why he beat him. Well, he didn't beat anybody yet. I guess he did that after he beat Berkowitz, Sydney. But I'm telling you, he's going to be Sullivan by 11 points over Begich, Parnell 6 points over Walker. That's my prediction. 758. Parnell 6 points over Walker. That's my prediction. 758.
When you've got the best ingredients, the pizza comes out right. That's just what we're cooking for every appetite. Experience the flavor. Appetite. Experience the flavor. It's a pizza party day.
For the past 20 years, Sicily's Pizza has served Alaskans hot, fresh, quality pizza at a great price. And as a special thanks to all of their loyal customers, Sicily's is having a 20th anniversary sale. Any pizza, any size, for just 20 cents. Now, that's an offer that you really can sink your teeth into. Call 333-8000 and order the Sicily's 20th anniversary special. Buy any pizza, any size, and get a second pizza for only 20 cents. Order online at sicilyspizza.com. Offer valid for pickup and carry out only. Best ingredients, best pizza, Sicily's.
Just call Sicily's Pizza. 333-8000.
Listen online at 1080KOAN.com. Hot Talk 95.1 FM, 1080 AM, KOAN, Anchorage.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lisa Brady.
I can't think of a more graphic description of evil than what we witnessed yesterday.
Secretary of State John Kerry vowing the U.S. will hold accountable the killers of 2 beheaded American journalists, no matter how long it takes. President Obama urging an international coalition to make the ISIS threat more manageable. Fox News Radio's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
Lisa saying the life of journalist Steven Sotloff stood in sharp contrast to those who killed him. President Obama, speaking in Estonia, said the United States will lead a regional coalition to demean and destroy ISIS.
We will not be intimidated. Their horrific acts only unite us.
But he cautioned rolling back the terror group will take time.
This is not going to be a 1 week or 1 month or 6 month proposition.
The president said ultimately justice will be served. Lisa.
Thanks, Rachel. President Obama heading next to the NATO summit in Wales, reassuring Baltic leaders today that the U.S. will help stand against Russian aggression. The French president just announcing they're suspending plans to deliver a warship to Russia over the tensions in Ukraine. A suburban Detroit man who killed a stranger on his porch is sentenced. Fox News Radio's Jeff Manasso, live in our Midwest Bureau.
Lisa, 55-year-old Theodore Wayfair shot and killed 19-year-old Renisha McBride last fall. In the overnight hours outside Wayfair's Dearborn Heights home, Wayfair's lawyers claimed as self-defense that McBride, who was drunk, had crashed her car nearby and was screaming, trying to get into Wayfair's home. He opened his front door and shot, but the prosecution says McBride was actually seeking help.
I would call it the worst mistake of your life, but I don't know that you can ever use the word mistake to describe a murder.
The judge, siding with the prosecution's recommendations, sentencing Wayfair to at least 17 years in prison. Lisa.
Jeff, thanks. You're listening to Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
Attention homeowners. I'm Jay Farner, president of Quicken Loans. We've told you about HARP in the past. There are so many more of you who could be saving hundreds of dollars every month on your mortgage. It's simple and easy. And for 4 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. To learn more, call 800-QUICKEN.
Visit jdpower.com for award information. Important terms and conditions apply. Calls for cost information. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states and MLS number 3030.
Gear up for fall and haul in the savings. Choose 0% 60-month financing or big cash off select John Deere tractors. From the 1 family to 150 horsepower utility tractors. Plus, get $1,500 off new 1 family tractors when you buy 2 implements. Offer ends October 31st, 2014, subject to approved credit on John Deere financial installment plan. Some restrictions apply. See your participating dealer for details.
Visit your local John Deere dealer today to take advantage of special savings going on now. Find out more at myjohndeeredealer.com.
Hi, my name is Mike Ferris, president of Alaska Enterprise Solutions. We are the face of Xerox in Alaska. Xerox is a trendsetter, and AES Xerox is following in those footsteps. We are the document management experts, specializing in short-term rentals of copiers and scanners. We have offices in Anchorage and Fairbanks, and we are your Xerox professional agency with an Alaska focus and worldwide support. You can reach us at aesalaska.com or 561-5100.
Here we go again. More false, misleading attack ads from outsiders. The culprit? Mark Begich. Senator Begich is siding with his D.C. friends once again, supporting more negative ads from anti-Alaska outsiders, telling us what to do. Dan Sullivan stood up for us to the special interest to stay out of Alaska. Sullivan proposed a plan to stop the issues. But the Anchorage Daily News reports Begich refused to sign Sullivan's proposal. Mark Begich votes with Barack Obama 97% of the time. Now Begich is hoping that anti-gun liberals and anti-energy extremists from the lower 48 will buy this election instead of letting Alaskans decide. As our senator, Dan Sullivan will stand up for Alaska and fight back against Barack Obama and his D.C. allies.
I'm Dan Sullivan. I'm running for the U.S. Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Sullivan for U.S. Senate.
When I grow up, I want to be a pro basketball player.
An elementary school teacher.
No matter what dream you choose or where you are in life, Country Financial helps you and your family grow your own way.
Or maybe a veterinarian.
A mom, a doctor, and president of the United States. Maybe an astronaut or, an Olympic gymnast.
You can grow your own way. We know some dreams take a little longer to achieve, which is why your local Country Financial representative offers helpful advice on everything. From auto and home insurance to financial planning, education to retirement, and business insurance too, so that you can continue to grow and dream.
Or maybe an accountant, like my dad.
For more information, visit countryfinancial.com or call 1-866-COUNTRY. Country Financial. Grow your own way.
What if buying your next car could actually be enjoyable? At Payless Car Sales, we believe it should be. If you're in the market for your next car, come by and meet our knowledgeable staff and explore our selection of quality vehicles. We offer military discounts, and we give all of our customers Carfax history reports. We can also provide warranties and handle all of your lending needs. Just like driving your car should be enjoyable, so should buying it. Visit us downtown at 919 East 5th Avenue or on our website at paylesssales.com. Payless Car Sales, where Alaskans drive.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel. Fagan, Biegel. Weekdays 6 to 9 a.m. The Talk of the Valley. KVNT.
6 minutes past 8 o'clock on a Wednesday morning. Rolling right along here with Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie as you make your way to your place of employment. Hopefully you have a place of employment. So many Americans these days don't. Nothing like having a job when you don't have a job. Such a big deal.
It's the biggest deal in a person's life, in a family for sure. I mean, you cannot have a healthy family if you do not have a breadwinner. I mean, it's impossible. I mean, it's such an obvious thing to say, but a lot of people try to run families now and even pay people not to get married. I mean, it's one of the biggest tragedies.
You're talking about the government.
Yeah, the government pays people not to get married. If you get married, they'll take away the check. And it's a bad situation that the government is making worse. But people on the left, and this is one of the big dividing lines in my mind between left and right, people on the left never believe that if the government writes a check, no damage is done. Always a good thing. Oh, here's a hungry child. Let's not go talk to the parent. Let's give these guys some food. That's just, look, it's foolishness, it's stupidity, and it's dangerous and damaging, but they've been able to get away with it for a while.
569-1080, 569-1080. That's the number. Your computer's, your framing's off. 569-1080.
My framing's off.
Let me ask you a question. We got this pot initiative coming up.
Yeah.
Just let's go hypothetical. I know Glenn loves to go hypothetical, so let's go hypothetical. Literally, you could just kill someone. It's not a crime. Let's just say it was a misdemeanor. Let's say you got a ticket for killing somebody.
Okay.
I mean, you just, Bonnie's going on about something, and I'm just so mad at her, I just pull out my gun and I just shoot her. And there's no repercussion. I got to pay a $50. I got to go down to City Hall and pay a $50 fine.
All right.
How different would our culture be?
Really different. I would think we would separate into various factions where we felt safe, and then we would essentially have guns pointed outward from individual compounds.
Look back at the Old West. That's how it was.
That'd be my.
Well, they'd hang you.
Yeah, they'd still hang you.
They'd
back
hang
then.
you. I don't know that that's.
It was still illegal, but
I don't think there's ever been a culture where it's just, yeah, you can kill somebody.
Yeah,
it's not a big deal.
Well, they did an actual movie about this.
What was it?
It was called The Purge.
Well, that was where and I didn't see it, but it was a 24-hour period.
Yes.
Yeah, but I'm talking about 24/7, 365 days a week.
That movie, though, is a representation of what you're talking about. And essentially what people did was...
You saw it?
Yeah, I saw it. And I thought, look, it was it was an interesting movie. It was horrifying, of course. It's a horror film. Ethan Hawke was in it, and I really like him as an actor. But basically what happened is people would retreat into what they considered to be a fortress, wherever the fortress was, because if you weren't with people that you completely trusted, they could kill you and get away with it, and it wasn't even illegal at all. And so that's my guess as to what would happen is we would be a much more closed society, that we would find areas where we felt safe, and then if you wandered into the wrong place, the wrong part of town, you'd get shot.
Everybody belonged to the NRA. There'd be no gun control people anymore because that movement would be dead, right?
I guess, yeah.
Nobody'd be saying we should take away guns when you could,
Well, people would have to get rid of gangs pretty quickly. I mean, you essentially would have the 95%, because about 5% of our population is violent. They drink too much. They take drugs. They can't be trusted. They're really looking to steal, rob from you, kill you, murder, rape you, whatever. About 5%. You would think that if this became law, that the 95% would essentially arm themselves and
kill the 5%.
Defeat the 5%, and then hopefully the 95% could figure out how not to have death-ending, murdering, rampage.
So the citizenry would just randomly take the role of police, and we'd thin the herds ourselves. If we thought somebody was violent, for the sake of the safety of the people in the community, we would kill them prematurely.
Well, if you look back at the Bible and all of the things that resulted in the death penalty amongst the Jewish people, it's very similar to this, because essentially their entire society was threatened whenever anybody would do anything even remotely bad. And so you had death penalty or banishment for just about everything. And some of it was because they were, they would wander around and they weren't necessarily stationary people. I think you would see a far different society, far different.
569-1080, 569-1080.
Why do you ask this anyway?
Yeah, what does that do?
I'm going somewhere, but let me take Jerry's call first. Jerry, you're on.
Yeah, aren't you guys fortunate to have the left, the liberals, and the Democrats?
Fortunate in what way?
Well, if you didn't have these people you've been ranting and raving about how bad they are, you wouldn't have a purpose for having a radio station that talks about it. You're lucky. You're thankful that you have the left, liberals, and the Democrats.
Are you a left, liberal, or Democrat?
No, I'm a moderate person who sits in the middle of everything.
And see, that's who I'm upset about. I don't care. The liberals are being liberals. It's the people in the middle that can't make up their minds one or another and won't stand for something that bothers me.
What are you moderate about, Jerry?
He's not moderate.
What's that again?
What are you moderate about? Dan doesn't think you're moderate.
Okay, every time I hear an issue and every time I look at a candidate who's running for a position, I do some research on that individual or the issue and make up my mind, independent of how I would support or vote for in favor.
Well, let's take a couple topics and let's see how moderate you are. Can we do that?
Sure. Go ahead.
All right. So on the issue of abortion, do you think abortion is the taking of a life?
Yes, it is.
Do you think it should be illegal?
Well, there are circumstances that an abortion may be productive to the life of the mother, and I cannot imagine a male making a decision about what a woman can do with her reproductive organisms to say it's almost like a murder to do this. A man should not have that kind of a choice. It's a woman's choice.
So abortion.
Just a minute, and she lives with and suffers with the feeling that she took a individual's life or a fetus's life. That's something she has to live with. A man has no conception of what it is to be psychologically and physiologically to be raped by something and have a growth growing within her uterus.
Should a woman
decide what to do
who gets pregnant, should she be able to end the life of her baby because she doesn't want to go through the inconvenience of giving the child up?
That's a different deal.
I know, but what's your position?
That's her something she has to live with. I'm not going to decide whether she's right or wrong. That's something that she has to live with.
So the government should not outlaw the killing of a baby?
I don't think it's a government issue whatsoever. It's an individual.
Then why would government outlaw murder of an adult? or a teenager. If you think it should be legal for the baby inside the mother's womb, why should it be legal for a 5-year-old or a
we are
10-year-old?
finding it in some cases the government is wrong to prosecute people for a murder that maybe they didn't commit.
I'll tell you what, Jerry, hold on.
Defense.
I want to continue this discussion. I'll ask you other issues too. I got to take a break though. 8:14. We're talking to Jerry, the moderate, 569-1080. We'll be right back.
I got a doctor's appointment.
No, I understand. Jerry's no moderate. We'll be back.
I got a doctor's appointment.
No, I understand. Jerry's no moderate. We'll be back.
Don't just sit there. Give them a...
When you've got the best ingredients, the pizza comes out right. That's just what we're cooking for every appetite. Experience the flavor. Call us right away. 24/7. It's a pizza party day.
For the past 20 years, Sicily's Pizza has served Alaskans hot, fresh, quality pizza at a great price. And as a special thanks to all of their loyal customers, Sicily's is having a 20th anniversary sale. Any pizza, any size, for just 20 cents. Now that's an offer that you really can sink your teeth into. Call 333-8000 and order the Sicily's 20th anniversary special. Buy any pizza, any size, and get a second pizza for only 20 cents. Order online at sicilyspizza.com. Offer valid for pickup and carry out only. Best ingredients, best pizza, Sicily's.
Just call Sicily's Pizza. 333-8000.
If you're ready for the movies, there's just one place to go. Check out moviesak.com.
Find movie showtimes for Anchorage and the Valley at moviesak.com. Check out trailers and reviews updated daily. Moviesak.com, your local location on the web to find out everything you need to know before you go out. Register for free movie tickets that are given away every week and the grand prize of movie tickets for life.
Trail Boss Solutions is your local award-winning, nationally recognized construction and remodel firm. From handyman services to kitchen design and remodel to custom construction, Trail Boss Solutions has the experienced professionals to take your project from initial design through completion, on time and on budget. Trail Boss Solutions is the only call for all your construction, design, and remodel needs. Please visit us on the web at trailboss-solutions.com or contact Trail Boss Solutions direct at 646-1403.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning. Give them a call, 569-1080. Fagan and Biegel in the morning on the Talk of the Valley, KVNT 92.5 FM, 1020 AM.
$8:17, Wednesday morning. I've been a talk show host a long time. I've taken 20,000 phone calls in my career. I've had many people call me and tell me they're a moderate. Every time, 100% of the time, when you begin to question them of what we believe, they're as left as anybody. You have to understand, Bonnie, there's no such thing as a leftist. You'll never.
You mean moderate?
No one will ever say I'm a leftist.
Oh.
They will tell you they're
yeah.
a moderate if they're a leftist.
Yeah.
Would Shannon Moore tell us she's left or moderate?
No. She'll say moderate.
She'd say moderate. Okay,
oh,
so that's a perfect example.
I carry a gun.
Mark Begich.
I have guns.
He says he's a moderate, and he is as
exactly.
far left
as
as anybody.
Mark Begich is a freaking communist.
Most of the people who write articles, quote articles, I think is what you called them earlier today.
Yeah.
In your response to Nat Hertz's unfair characterization that it's a two-way street for this attack ad that Begich put out on Sullivan, most of them would consider themselves moderates.
Everybody's a moderate.
Yeah, everybody.
Andrew Hopkins says he's a moderate.
Okay.
And socially he's Margaret Sanger.
Yeah.
You know.
Sure.
So
the second our caller called in and he started talking about, you wouldn't have a talk show if it wasn't for liberals and Democrats, I knew exactly who he was. So he's not fooling me. Don't think he's fooling me. But especially when he starts talking about the life issue.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yes, there are people who are Republican who say, okay, you know, except in the case of rape, incest, and the life of the mother. Yes, I know that there are people out there. I was one of those a few years ago. I'm not anymore. Because to me, a life is a life is a life. So if I call myself pro-life, I can't be some pro-life and some not pro-life.
Well, there's only really two justifiable positions on the life issue. One, you believe that the baby with its beating heart and its cute little sucking of his or her thumb is a blob of tissue. It is no different than a tumor or
he said a growth.
A growth, whatever.
Oh,
so that's a justifiable position to say, hey, that's just tissue. That's not a life. That beating hard, watching the baby, you know, sucking his or her thumb, watching the baby cower back as the abortionist begins to prick the baby with a sharp surgical instrument to kill the baby. That doesn't mean the baby's alive. It's just a tissue. It's just literally skin, and it's just not a baby.
And if the mother wants to have it removed.
Yeah, that's right. So that's a justifiable position if you really believe that in your heart. Now with technology today, how you could believe that, that's really bizarre to me. But what is unjustifiable, which is what Jerry's position he took was, I believe it's the ending of a life, but I'm cool with it. It's that's fine. That's just not justifiable to me.
Well, what gets me is that he starts talking about how it's not a man's
Yeah.
right to go in and tell a woman what she can do with her body. If it's not men, then who is going to do it? Because the women aren't doing it. So we need men to lead and take up that cause. I'm so sick of it. It's murder.
It's everybody's issue.
It is, but
having a culture of life, and it impacts it has everything to do with everything.
But do you see what he's doing? He's just displacing responsibility.
Sure,
It's
absolutely.
not up to. It's not up to me.
There's some pandering there.
He got rid of his responsibility for being a liberal. Then he gets
I'm a
rid
man,
of
so it shouldn't be
responsibility
up to
for
me.
this and that. The other thing by dividing us into unreasonable groups.
So I remember Don Smith, Mr. Conservative, right? The father of the tax cap. We had him on a TV show once, and he said, "Well, I'm not going to tell a woman what to do." It is a cop-out. It is a pandering to the female gender. And the left loves that. You're anti-woman. You're anti-health care.
Amanda Coyne thinks this is Mark Bigg's just ticket in.
Well, he thinks it's his ticket in because he's employing it.
He's got 40. He is supported, I think it's 13 points is the spread between women supporting Sullivan or Begich versus Sullivan. He's 13 points up amongst women, and Sullivan is up 10 points or something amongst men.
Yeah, that's pretty typical, though. When you look at even Obama, Obama enjoys much more.
Oh, I think it was even larger for that. But that's largely because unmarried women are married to Uncle Sam.
Well, a lot of young women who live a promiscuous lifestyle, and abortion is key to that lifestyle, that's a pretty big deal to them. It's not that they take entitlements. It's just that they want to continue to have sex as much as they want, and they want to be able to end the life of the baby if they do end up getting pregnant, and they see Dan Sullivan or any Republican as a threat to that lifestyle. It's not necessarily an entitlement culture thing. It's a lifestyle thing. There are women, Glenn. I had a gal who worked with me as a reporter in Louisiana, and we went out to dinner one night, and she kind of broke down and told me she had 6 abortions. That's one woman.
Mm.
There's some women that's how they live.
That is their birth control.
Well, it is, yeah. I go out, I have sex as much as I want, and then if I get pregnant, I'll just kill the baby, And of course, this woman is just, today her life is so messed up, and it's not a matter. And I'm not sitting. This is such a difficult subject for me because there's nothing more destructive, in my opinion, than shame. When people feel shame, that shame, in my opinion, is a wall between you and your loving God. So many people do not explore a relationship with God who loves them so much because of shame. They say to themselves, I'm not worthy to experience God's love because of the things I've done. I think that's the number one reason people rob themselves of a strong, rich, loving relationship with their Creator. So I'm very anti-shame because it's so destructive. So when we talk about this subject, I try to do it in a way where I'm not trying to shame because there are many women listening to me right now who are just dying on the inside from shame because they've ended the life of their baby. I don't want to add to that because I can promise you, I've done a lot of bad things myself. And every time that I've gone to my loving Creator, He has forgiven me instantly and healed me of my guilt and shame. And that's available for every woman who's ever ended the life of her baby. We are not equipped as human beings to end the life of our children. We're not equipped to handle that. And if you're a woman who's had an abortion, and you may be in denial about why you're in such pain, but that's why you're in such pain. If you've not dealt with that and gone to your loving Father and gotten healed from that and allowed Him to take that shame from you, you're just not equipped to handle it. You're not built for that. Nobody is. And so it's a tough subject, because you don't want to come down on and a lot of women, they were pressured, their husbands, their boyfriends, their parents, their teenage friends. A lot of women were lied to by the most evil
school counselor.
The most evil, vile organization in the history of mankind, Planned Parenthood. They're not telling you the truth about what you're about to do.
Mm-hmm.
They want your cash, and they'll kill your baby for money. They don't, they're not being honest with you and telling you the whole ramifications about what you're about to do. So, I'm not trying to remove the responsibility from the woman who ended the life of her baby, but there are extenuating circumstances. So it's a tough issue.
I look at that graphic. I've seen it on Facebook where it's got how many people have been killed in all the wars we've had combined, and the one cross represents whatever million, but then there's 50 crosses for that to represent the babies that have been killed through abortion, and that is so striking to me. I wish that more people would see that and really understand it.
Yeah. It's a tough issue. You don't hear about it much. Even conservative talk radio doesn't touch on abortion much.
Mm-hmm.
They really don't.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've never heard Rick Rydell talk about abortion. Have you guys?
I think he changed his about it.
Yeah.
Same position as the guy who was just on.
Yeah.
And I guess his wife was pro-life, and she changed his mind.
Good for him. Yeah, it's a very polarizing issue. Women who've had abortions, who've not dealt with their guilt and shame, are very rabid pro-choice, and they'll never listen to you again if you start talking about what abortion really is. Because they already deal with so much guilt and shame. They're incapable of having it piled on, And so I understand why a lot of media people don't touch abortion. When you look at the mainstream media, there's never been any evidence that's more strong than the hard left bias of the mainstream media in the way it covers abortion. You could fill 10 newspapers with tragic stories of women who've had abortions and the devastating effect it has had on them emotionally. But you will never see that story in the mainstream media. Never once, not one time.
Well, and I know that I sound probably just absolutely heartless when I talk about it, but I do have to go back to the crux of the problem. When you talk about it, Glenn, you talk about the fathers and the roles, and and the fathers in society have just gone away. And like you say, the government is now the parent; they're the father.
Mm-hmm.
And so I mean, you do have to go to the basis of the issue and not just look at the whole problem with abortion nowadays, but go back to, the role of the father in the home. And it's gone away. And I do have friends that have had abortions, and their fathers weren't around. They didn't have that. They went looking for love elsewhere. And, I think that we've got such a much bigger problem than even abortion. And it starts in the home.
Yeah, no question about it. Well, I hope people realize that if they do decide to keep the child, that you'll be blessed.
Or give it up for adoption.
Oh, I know so many people who would take.
Oh.
I mean, they either cannot have children themselves, or they have children and would take more.
Yeah.
I just wish, and they're such good families, There are people who would take the children. No child is unwanted. That is such a misnomer. I can't even believe anybody would ever say unwanted child.
569-1080, 569-1080. That's the number if you'd like to join in the broadcast. Time currently 8:29. You're listening to Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie. 29. You're listening to Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel. Give them a call. 569-1080. KOAN.
Local news brought to you by Jansen Funeral Homes, Jansen's Evergreen Memorial Chapel, Jansen's Alaska Cremation Center, and Jansen's Eagle River Funeral Home. Jansen Funeral Homes, where just like family, they're there when you need them.
With KOAN News, I'm Chuck White. Prosecutors will not move forward with charges against the driver who struck and killed a bicyclist in Midtown on January. Controversy about his retention bonus. Did 59-year-old TJ Justice could with critics Eldridge Griffith on his bicycle. A woman accused of playing a role in a brutal sexual assault has been located, and Tender reports.
22-year-old Mariah Kalanina was arrested after someone tipped off her location to Anchorage Crime Stoppers. She was wanted for taking part in an assault on a man who was brutalized in a sexual way at the Arctic Turn Inn in August. Police had been searching for Kalanina for a few weeks when the anonymous caller helped them out. They called the assault drug-related.
A plaque inscribed with poetry from former Alaska Poet Laureate Tom Saxon's been installed near Independence Mine in Hatcher Pass, part of the Poems in Place program. At your Hot Talk News update.
Mostly sunny for today, high 60. Clear for the rest of your Wednesday, low 42. Cloudy on Thursday, high tomorrow 58. Tomorrow night, low 48. Cloudy with occasional rain for Friday, high 59. Saturday, mostly cloudy with a bit of rain, high 58. And for Sunday, high again, 58. Hot Talk, breaking news, and the latest weather. KOAN 95.1 FM and 1080 AM.
Chris here along with my buddy Brock. That's right, we're here to tell you to tune into The Beer Show every Saturday at 5 p.m. on 95.5 and 1080 KOAN. The Beer Show is brought to you by Brown Jug Alaska, Eagle River Ale House, Great Artisan Beverages, and the Odom Corporation. Please drink responsibly.
A better life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
I've been investigating how we can reverse heart disease without traditional medicine, and now new research confirms it is possible. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, CNN's chief medical correspondent. Cleveland Clinic researchers confirmed that food can heal your heart. Their new study found that a plant-based diet not only prevents heart attacks, but it can actually reverse the damage. Out of the 177 heart patients that switched over to a vegan diet, 81% had fewer symptoms and experienced fewer complications from heart disease. A whopping 22% reversed the signs of heart damage, and participants also lost about 20 pounds each on average. So what is the best food prescription for your heart? Well, a vegan diet may be the thing for you. And their mantra is eat nothing that has a mother or has a face. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
I like my breakfast like I like my rock. Soft. So I eat Belvita soft baked breakfast biscuits, a tasty breakfast option for nutritious morning energy. It's just what I want before riding a flute solo that will softly rock every dentist's office around. Try Belvita soft baked in oats and chocolate, cinnamon, mixed berry, and banana bread. Belvita, mourn and win.
Trying to sell your old car? Instead, donate your vehicle to Heritage for the Blind. Pickup is free and your donation is tax deductible. Just call 1-800-953-4036. Heritage for the Blind accepts cars, vans, trucks, and boats, whether they run or not. Call right now and receive a free 3-day vacation voucher to over 50 locations. Call 1-800-953-4036. Donate your car today. That's 1-800-953-4036.
Did you know that one of the state's premier medical facilities is located right in the heart of South Anchorage? Thanks to the Alaska Neurology Center, there's no need to leave Alaska anymore when it comes to treating the nervous system. You'll receive the best care at the Alaska Neurology Center for epilepsy, cerebral palsy, brain injuries, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, Huntington's disease, multiple sclerosis, speech disorders, and they offer pain management as well. And if you're having trouble sleeping at night, the Alaska Neurology Center has the best sleep disorder experts in the state. They also have the most sophisticated MRI imaging technology in Alaska. If you need relief from stress or from migraines, relax in their luxurious spa. At the Alaska Neurology Center, their massage therapists are amazing, and they offer hydrotherapy, infrared sauna, hot and cold therapy, and shiatsu massage. And their medical spa also offers facials and waxing. The Alaska Neurology Center, located on Diamond and Old Seward.
Glenn, every once in a while you find a hidden gem right here in Anchorage.
You're talking about the Snow Leopard Boutique.
I am.
Owner Eileen Bear has an amazing eye for beauty.
For decorating ideas, it doesn't get any better than Snow Leopard Boutique.
They have 2,400 square feet of everything you need to beautify yourself and your home.
Glenn, I noticed the calming atmosphere the moment I walked in.
Dan, how about those chocolate truffles?
Yeah, and you can wash them down with a free latte.
The Snow Leopard Boutique.
At the corner of Tudor and Old Seward.
Hot dog, KOAN, man. You're on with Fagan and Biegel. 10
Talk of the Valley, KVNT.
All right, 8:35. What are you playing there, Brian?
It's actually a Theory of a Dead Man, but it's an instrumental version of Drown.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good band.
569-1080, Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie on a Wednesday morning, 8:35 in the a.m.
Are you ever going to get back to your question as to
Well,
why
let me take John's call.
All right.
All right, John, you're on.
Good morning, Dan Biegel and Miss Bonnie. How are you guys doing today?
We're good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I just had to call in because I know me and you bump heads a lot on a lot of topics, but we finally agree on two major things.
Okay.
I'm a firm advocate of Alaskans' right to life. I believe abortion is a moral sin, and you touched on something called Planned Parenthood, which I believe, and a lot of my friends believe at this point, is just modern-day eugenics.
Yes.
And if people do their information and their research, they will understand that the Bill Gates family owns Planned Parenthood, and they're funded by Bill Gates and his family.
Well, I know he spends a lot of money on so-called population control.
That's exactly it. There's a thing called the Rosicrucian Stones in Georgia that were erected in 1979, and the very top line in 5 different languages on them stones says, the Rosicrucians want to deplete the world's population by 11/12.
That's no good. People are important. What do we disagree on?
Oh, man, we've disagreed on a lot of things, like Dick Cheney and things like that.
Oh, you think he's a war criminal?
Well, we're not going to get on that topic, but we have different views in certain political aspects.
Yeah.
Me, personally, I worked on the Joe Miller campaign. Now that Mr. Sullivan has won, I'm heart-wrenched to actually vote for Sullivan, but I know we have to get Mark Baggage out of office.
So you are going to vote for Sullivan?
I'm 70% swayed to actually have to vote for him. Even though Mark Fish just came out as the Libertarian candidate, he has a very far shot of winning. But the real realm of the situation is I'm a GOP. I stand behind the GOP. I'm just not big on Sullivan's connects to Washington. There's that 30% where I need Sullivan to come out and tell us not what he's going to do in the next 2 years while Barack Obama is in office, but what is he going to do for the 2 following years after that? So what's his plan to further not only the country in itself, but Alaska in general? Because we've heard a lot of talk about, the illegal immigration problem. We've heard a lot of talk about how everyone disapproves of our current president. But what's going to happen, per se, if the Democrats win again, and by some crazy odd gift that they give Hillary the nomination and she wins? We're really going to be up, the proverbial creek without a paddle.
What is it about Sullivan that he has said or proposed that you disagree with? I'm not talking about his associations.
There's nothing really. I've watched a lot of his debates, other than the fact of him going over his timekeeper's time and not understanding, when the bell rings, be quiet. He's got a lot of valid points, and it's kind of scary that he and Mr. Miller are alike in, I would say, 50-60% of from what I can see on certain aspects of their campaign. But Mr. Sullivan himself has not really 100% backed Alaska's right to life. There's certain things about his abortion stance that I'm not totally in agreement with.
But you're confident that he will always vote in favor of a Supreme Court justice that would return the issue back to the states and undo Roe v. Wade.
I do definitely believe that Mr. Dan Sullivan is more states' rights, and he is a lot more conservative than, quote unquote, the moderate Mr. Baggage.
Yeah. All right, man. Thank you.
No, well, you guys have a great day, and thanks for letting me talk.
Thank you, John. Appreciate that. 569-1080 is the number. 569-1080.
Well, if Mark Begich is a moderate, I think that makes Lisa Murkowski an extreme conservative.
Yeah, Mark's not a moderate.
He's not a moderate, and people got to stop saying that. I know John said it tongue in cheek, the appropriate way, but people who are in the media, Mark Begich is not a moderate. If you're writing a news article, call him a liberal. That is what he is. Just because he has to say that he's for developing Anwar or he supported Harry Reid, that means he's not for those things. Just because he says he's pro-Second Amendment, but he put 2 Supreme Court justices that do not believe in an individual right to keep and bear arms, that means he's not pro-Second Amendment. Stop calling him a moderate. He knows what it takes to get elected in Alaska. That's all he is. He's a politician. He's not a moderate. He's a politician.
We're one Supreme Court justice away from losing our rights to bear arms.
You know what, though? That didn't help us with Obamacare. Our guy went for Obamacare. Justice Roberts. So you guys keep talking about, well, it matters who we vote for because they'll, pick the right Supreme Court justice.
Bonnie.
No, they're ruling from the bench now.
Look, John, what's his name again?
Roberts.
John Roberts. He is not the same thing as Sonia Sotomayor. He just isn't.
Might as well be.
No, that's not true.
My Lord.
No, that is not true. And people have got to I'm begging people to understand this. Just because he doesn't vote your way 100% of the time.
I do feel that way.
Bonnie, this is true, and this is absolutely true. And you've got to realize that the left is active in so many more things. They had a 5-4 decision as to whether or not you driving drunk was an indication that you had a disease.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're fighting about so many more things, and I realize that we may lose this or that issue. But the left is going to win every issue because they are together 100% of the time.
Right.
The left-wingers on that court are hard left all the time.
And I agree with you.
The country will dramatically change if we go from the moderate court that we have now to a left-wing court, dramatically.
I agree with you, but then you see something like what happened in California where the public voted against gay marriage, and then the judges came back and said, well, it doesn't matter what you think.
Gay marriage
is
over. I hate to tell you this.
And abortion?
Gay marriage is done. No, abortion's not done.
You say it is federally.
No. Well, it'll go back to the states. It's my hope. My hope is we undo Roe versus Wade. I don't think we'll ever pass a human life amendment at the federal level. They'll never outlaw all abortions at the federal level. I don't even think they have that power. They never had the power at the founding of the country.
I just hope that Dan Sullivan goes there and will stand on his own 2 feet and really not. I mean, I know there's going to be compromise, but just don't do it so much. They go there and, Lisa Murkowski, she got thrilled with the power.
Oh, well. I want people to realize there's a vast difference between Mark Begich and just about anybody else.
Mm-hmm, sure, I agree.
And that difference is worth saving. That difference could give us a new chance. And I realize a lot of conservatives think, look, if the country's not perfect, if we don't go back to the absolute text of the Constitution and get rid of 90% of the government, we just can't survive. I honestly think if we do a few things right, if we start promoting families and fatherhood and faith, we can survive. And I have that belief, and I don't want to give up on the rest of the country just because conservatives. Look, I'm a person who's been in this vein. I'm a person who was trying to convince everybody else it all has to be perfect. Well, this president, while he's been bad, has not destroyed the country. We still have 130 million people with jobs. Am I wrong?
And slipping?
Exactly, and slipping. But he's the worst example that we have ever seen in the whole history of the country. This country is so strong. We have such great opportunities, such great people. We have such a great founding. It doesn't have to be perfect.
844.
It won't be perfect. Such a great founding. It doesn't have to be perfect.
844.
It won't be perfect.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel on the...
Hi, this is Jonathan Martin with Harrington Company. I am looking for a qualified buyer with a 90% letter from his lender. I have a 3-bedroom, bath and a half, single-car garage with carport on a large single-family lot in East Anchorage. It is priced in the mid-200,000s. It needs only a little bit of TLC. Please call me, Jonathan Martin at Harrington Company, 244-0821. That's Jonathan Martin at Harrington Company, 244-0821.
Who was the last Alaska governor to see 16,000 new jobs created on his watch? Was it Wally Hickel, Jay Hammond, Bill Egan? The last governor to see 16,000 new jobs is our current governor, Sean Parnell. Alaska is in the middle of a jobs boom. Since Sean Parnell took office, the Alaska economy has produced some 16,000 new jobs. And you can bet there are more jobs coming. Listen to Jim Huffman, president of a trucking company in Fairbanks.
This year we are buying new trucks, hiring new people. I could put 20 truck drivers to work tomorrow if we could find them. I give the credit to Governor Parnell.
Alaska's economy is back on track. 16,000 new Alaska jobs since Sean Parnell became our governor. That's why Parnell 2014, Box 100719, Anchorage, paid for this message.
This is Dr. Ellenberg. Are you tired of taking medications? Your medications create more side effects than solutions. Do you want more than 15 minutes with your doctor? If you answer yes to those questions, you should consider calling the Ellenberg Center for Natural Medicine. At our center, we take the time to listen and focus on finding the cause of your health problems. Whether you have a cold, high blood pressure, diabetes, or cancer, we can help. Call the Ellenberg Center for Natural Medicine at 563-2366 or visit us online at drellenberg.com. We can help.
You're on with Fagan.
9 Anchorage paid for this message.
Fagan, Biegel. Weekdays 6 to 9 a.m. The Talk of the Valley. KV.
8:47 in the morning. Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie. Our number, if you'd like to join the broadcast, 569-1080. 569-1080. So my question is, if murder were legal, what impact would it have? Let's say it was a misdemeanor. You basically pay a ticket, and you go down to City Hall and you write a $50 check. How would that impact our culture? You say, Glenn, it would cause us to kind of segregate into our own cliques with people we trust,
or it would be armoring up.
Yeah, well, I think what would happen is we'd have to wipe out the violent in society. That essentially the death penalty will become the norm.
Wouldn't the people wiping out the violent become the violent?
Well, this is the difficult part: is how do you judge between, if somebody's beating up a woman, and they know that they can't be trusted around women. They can't be trusted on their own. They can't be trusted to do the right thing. They don't respect other people. What I think you'd see is essentially the death penalty would become the norm, and that people, because the person can't be trusted and they could kill you, well, now you have to respond with an infinite amount of violence. And that's the way that it would happen. And I don't know it would be messy, I can tell you that. But yeah, I think we would split into factions, families and groups, and would essentially armor up, create a compound, and face their weapons.
And
outward.
then would factions go to war with each other?
I don't think so. I think
Why not?
What's the benefit?
Take over their stuff?
I think because you're all going to get killed, or half you are going to get killed, you essentially would have a
Wouldn't the
static
superior
society.
warriors, those who are more proficient at violence and killing,
Yeah.
be aggressive? Why
But
not?
There's so many guns in America that you'd have to figure that the cost to try and take over somebody else's territory would just be so astronomically high that I don't know. At this point, I don't know. But what's the purpose of your question?
Yes, I would like to
Because I have no idea.
get
It's
to
so
the
funny.
pot.
Where are we going with this? Where is this car headed?
I was going to say, business wouldn't even run as usual anymore.
No, you wouldn't have any
if you could
business.
just go out and kill people.
Well, I mean, think about it. If you owed money, and you were like a debt collector, and you had to go to somebody's house, and you owed $10,000 on your credit card you didn't pay. Well, you just shoot the debt collector.
Well, there wouldn't be any credit cards. Well, or credit cards would have to be paid up in full every month.
Or the banks, you just walk into the bank and.
Well, banks would be all armored up. They'd have,
Okay, steer.
Okay, what are we doing? What are we
Steer
doing
back.
with this? What's the point?
Well,
Come on, boys.
I'm thinking about proposing a ballot initiative that makes murder legal.
Oh.
That you can kill people.
Maybe just classify them as zombies. Then that makes it legal.
Hey.
Well, I'm trying to figure out the relationship between law and behavior. And I looked because we got the pot initiative coming up. And I've said this before. I never smoked pot as a kid or as a teenager. Not all my friends did, but a lot of my friends did.
You thought it was crack.
No, that was smoking pot, but that's a whole different story. But so I smoked pot once, but I thought it was crack. So
And you didn't inhale.
Well, actually, I did.
Oh, okay.
But the bottom line is, the reason that I would not participate in the ingesting of the reefer is because the idea of getting arrested and having to look at my father in the eye and say, "Dad, I was arrested for drug use," that was such a strong deterrent to me. It just wasn't going to happen. If pot were legal, I'd have been all over it. I would have been all over pot. I drank. Why not? It's not illegal.
Oh, it wasn't illegal when you were drinking?
Well, actually, that's true. I did. You're right. That's a good point. But you wouldn't get arrested for drinking. As a kid,
You really would have had to do something crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
So I never saw. My friend and I, we'd pay somebody to go into the 7-Eleven and buy us a 40-ounce, Miller, and we'd drink it out in the parking lot. So I did that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But
Miller, honestly?
Well, we only
Brian,
had
can I get a ruling
We
on
only
that?
had like 69 cents, Glenn.
Seriously? Oh, okay.
We were kids,
Colt 45.
Yeah, I couldn't afford the
Kids,
Heineken.
what were you, 11?
I couldn't afford the Heineken. So anyway, but the law was the clear deterrent for me when it came to pot. And who knows how my life would have turned out had I become a pothead at 15, like a lot of my friends. And I just think the law is important. I think it's relevant. I think it absolutely determines behavior. And there's so many things we have in our culture today that are destructive. Pornography. Pornography is absolutely destroying marriages en masse. You cannot, as a man, be addicted to pornography and be a husband that's going to meet your wife's physical needs. You can't do it. And you look at pornography, you look at what Barney was talking about earlier, men who won't be men and be fathers. And we're going to add another problem into our culture by legalizing marijuana, a drug that is already being used by epidemic proportions by young people today.
Not just legalizing it, commercializing.
Yes.
That is an important difference here. Because while I'm for the decriminalization of it, I don't think people should go to jail if they use it. I don't want it commercialized, and that's what I worry that this initiative is really about, and that's what I'm seeing in Colorado. Where they're not just trying to sell you what you want, they're trying to sell you as much as you can handle. And to me, that's a different. It's a different.
Do you favor the decriminalization of crack and meth?
No.
Why? Why not? And yet pot.
Well, I don't think pot is as damaging, as dangerous.
Every person I know who uses pot, they're addicted to it.
I agree. I
So
don't
why
think they're
would-
good. I don't think it's good for you.
So
I
what
don't
the
think people
distinction
should use it.
between meth and marijuana?
I don't think it's as addictive as the other things. Basically, what I'm looking for is for government to prevent fraud. I think people know what they're getting into when they smoke marijuana. I don't think they have any clue what they're getting into when they smoke crack and when they smoke meth.
Okay,
So
so
that's my view.
when you're talking about the 10th
But
Amendment,
it's already legal, by the way. Smoking marijuana is already legal.
Yeah,
It's just not commercialized.
when you're talking about the 10th Amendment and things should be left to the states,
Yeah.
and this should not be a federal issue, but then you bring it to the state and then you vote yes?
Oh, I'm not voting yes on this. I don't want to.
Oh, but you had said you were going to.
And by the way, it's already decriminalized.
Sure,
There's only 7 people in jail for marijuana violations
Well, how can
alone.
it be decriminalized if there are 7 people in jail?
Well, I'm saying that they're not putting any new people in jail. They already convicted these people of crimes, and maybe it was having a pound of marijuana or whatever it is.
So it's not decriminalized.
You know, what I'm saying is they're not putting people in jail for marijuana
It can't be
offenses.
sold. It can't be like sold.
Yeah, I mean, these are people who are dealing,
Right,
probably.
right.
And so that's all they could get them on. But it's very rare. People just don't go to jail for marijuana offenses.
Well, and for me, it's
And so
the
that's
government
good.
getting
We've
involved
already
even
gotten
more.
to where what I think, is just.
So
don't
if
wanna
I
see
go
people
down to
to
the
jail.
Anchorage Police Department today,
Yeah.
and get me a little lounge chair and a big fat joint, and sit out in front of the APD and smoke that joint for a couple hours today,
Yeah.
I'm not going to have a problem.
I don't know. I don't know what would happen.
Well, you say it's decriminalized.
Well, it's like private home use, right? I
Well, no, I'm sitting in front of
private
APD
home use.
headquarters.
I suppose if you wanted
Cops
to get
coming in and
if
out.
you wanted to get arrested,
Hey, officer,
maybe
you want a
could.
hand on my joint?
If you wanted to get arrested, I suppose maybe you
So
could.
it is not.
There are criminal offenses for use in public, underage use. I'm
Right.
sure there are a number
you
of
have to be
things.
in your
it's just
home.
that they're not prosecuting people for those offenses.
But when you say
generally,
it's legal now.
It is legal now.
So I can go in front of APD and smoke a joint.
I don't think you can
No,
smoke it in
you can
public.
do it at
can't-
home, though.
You can't smoke a,
So it's
a
legal
cigarette
inside
in public.
my house.
But you can't buy it, or you
Right.
can't transport it. So how would
can
you get
grow
it there?
You can grow it. You
Yeah.
can grow 5 plants, I think. I don't
Are
even
you
know.
sure about that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Brian has studied up on
Yes.
this, obviously.
No,
was a
actually,
definitive
I was
yes.
doing the commercials, some commercials, so I got a little information
Oh.
from that. But if you have the medical marijuana, you can do certain things, and
Oh, but you got to get the medical marijuana permit.
right. But you walk into an office and say,
Yeah.
my eye hurts.
Yeah.
And $200 later, you got a card.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Oddly enough, my eye does hurt.
see, maybe that'll make it feel
I've got
better.
a fix for that. Now, of
Yeah.
course, it does come along with the munchies.
Don't try crack.
Yeah.
Then I guess my point is, why would anybody vote for an initiative that clearly is going to cause more harm to the culture than good? There's just no disputing anything that advances more marijuana use. And again, every person I've ever worked with that smoked pot, they smoked it every day. And I don't really have people in my inner circle that smoke pot because I don't smoke pot. And what use do they have for me? Because I don't want to go smoke pot
You're
with
not
them
part
every
of the
day.
crowd.
That's right.
Mhm.
So why would we vote for an initiative that clearly is going to erode productivity in our culture and cause more addiction and
Yeah.
cause more brain cells to be fried? And I'll tell you another thing. You could not tell me, and I know there was this new Harvard study that just came out that said, that pot has a major impact on your brain cells. We've all met potheads.
Mm-hmm.
They're not real bright.
Yeah, even Jeff Landfield said it was affecting him, and he stopped using it. He thinks it's a dangerous drug.
Well, we'll have more on this as we get closer to the initiative.
Yeah, well, I'm interested
I
to see
don't
the
like
polling on it.
I don't care.
I know that it was 2/3 to 1/3 that passed the medical marijuana.
Yeah. Well, that's a whole different issue. Talking about health.
I don't think so.
Well, you're right. It's a Trojan horse.
Yeah,
It's a
they
Trojan.
knew what they were about.
Oh, sure. 8:58. That's it. We're done. Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie. Tell your friends. Tell your neighbors. We're here every Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m. Have a great Wednesday. 6 to 9 a.m. Have a great Wednesday.
And that's a wrap.